All right, welcome in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It's Friday, folks. It's got to be something to be excited about, I would assume. Some of you, maybe.
For sure.
Is it going to rain today? It looked like rain when I left the house.
I don't know. I haven't looked. I think it's supposed to be okay.
Jason Simpson today.
I thought it was supposed to be good this weekend.
I thought it was too, because Haney got mad when I brought that up yesterday and said it might rain.
76%, but
what time?
It looks good today. I don't know. It says 76%, and then it says 7%. So I'm going to go
in the same neighborhood.
I'm going to go with 7%. I think that's a typo. Looks like overnight might be a little something. And then Sunday you might have something.
We're good with that. Overnight doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. I agree. But I'm kind of sick of the storms. Not going to lie. Kind of sick of it. Kind of over it. Kind of not going to deal with it anymore.
I mean, that's just what it is.
I'm over it, though.
I know you are.
You are, too. How can you not be? Who isn't over it at this point? I'm just so over it. Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, but I got other things to worry about.
Too busy?
Too
busy winning?
That's it. I don't know what I'm winning at, but we'll try.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to a couple of things with you early. We're under 100 days to college football.
I found that out yesterday.
Yesterday we were under 100 days to college football.
Yesterday we were at 100.
Correct.
Yes.
And then I wonder what game they're talking about, and I don't have the patience in me to count it out. Are they talking about the Dublin game? Are they talking about the first Saturday?
100 days to week 0.
Okay, so
the 99 now.
The Dublin game. Yeah.
So basically 105 days till real football.
Oh, that's a shot.
3 days.
That's a shot. That's an elbow. Well, August 23rd, we get Stanford, Hawaii.
I'm not saying that we don't have good teams playing. I'm saying until a real football week.
From Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex. They don't play at their stadium. They play at their facility.
What's your clearance, Clarence?
Fresno State, Kansas. That's got some intrigue.
I like these games. You can
Sam
have
Houston,
nice
Western
games.
Kentucky.
It's tremendous poo-poo platter before things get going the following week.
And then you get Kansas State, Iowa State from the dub.
Which I don't mind.
So that's real football to me. That's enough. That's enough good ball to get me excited about it. A great appetizer for next weekend.
I 100% am on board, but I don't count it as the start of the football season.
What day is SEC Media Days? Is that July?
Yeah.
Yeah, 14th.
This is where I am in my life right now during UFL. I have no idea when real things are. I didn't know that my preschooler finished school this week. I didn't know that my big kids finish school next week. My wife told me that yesterday. No idea. I'm just trying to. It's literally the NCAA tournament right now every day. Just survive in advance. Just get to the next day. Don't be dead. And
you have one game left. You're golden.
Oh yeah, this week's been a little bit of a lighter lift, but that's you know what happens when the football slows down. The other things around the house pick up.
Yes,
I need you to do this. I need you to go do that. I need you to grab this. Go there.
To which you say, can't do it. It's season time.
But then the response to that would have been, but you don't have a game this week.
Oh, but I do.
I've gotten a few of those.
I have 8 GBBA games this week.
We have had a few. And the rain, like you said, has affected some of those. You're sitting there waiting with lightning delays and whatnot, and just send the kids home.
What? How many games do you play a week?
It depends. Honestly, I don't keep count. I think it was supposed to be 1 on Monday, rain out. Had 1 last night, 2 tonight, tomorrow.
It's freaking insane.
It's a grind, man.
I don't care what it says. It's insane.
Get it going.
Yeah, it's absolutely
insane. We know you hate it.
It's the dumbest thing ever, but I'm all for it.
Especially when you ask your kid, would you like to play more baseball? And he says yes. That's really dumb.
Well, I know that we got about 75 at bats last night, wiffle ball at bats in the front yard.
How about got my camera broken in the yard last night?
Did you?
Locke doesn't want to use his T-ball bat anymore. So now he's using his brother's bat, and I mean, it makes a difference. And it's not even a black pearl.
What kind of ball is he hitting?
Oh, Locke hits real balls. Judge can't hit real balls in the backyard, but Locke does. He hit his first over the fence last night. He was feeling himself.
Nice. Yeah, we don't do the real baseballs.
I got a couple off the knees.
Did you?
Oh, it's not good. Not good.
Those are not good. Off the knees is tough. The comebacker's tough.
Especially for me. I was like, can we get the quad or the calf? foot, something.
We're pretty big on wiffle ball right now. Where do your kids stand on wiffle ball?
Wiffle ball to me when I was growing up was literally an Olympic sport.
Seriously, it's my favorite. It was my favorite thing as a kid.
And we have the yellow wiffle ball bat. We have wiffle balls, which by the way, another dad on the team last night, we were having a sidebar conversation, and I don't know where this came from. He's like, man, I went and bought like a pack of 3 wiffle balls yesterday. And I was like, first off, the real ones? He goes, nope, the real ones, with the holes across the top half. Like
just on
ones.
one half.
Yes.
Yeah, so they move.
$13.50.
For 3 balls?
3.
Where'd you buy it?
I'm not going to say that on the air.
Local retailer?
Local 39. I did get dinner from there last night.
The local retailer, though?
I'm telling you, you need to go by there and try the ranch. It's amazing.
As some of the bought balls recently at a local retailer, I can tell you I will be buying balls moving forward at another place.
Amazon from now on?
Yes. I literally I bought the balls and was like, oh, I felt like I got a good deal there. And then I looked on Amazon because I was like, I could really use 12 more.
You were like, no, not real balls.
I was like, it's half as much. What happened? I'm like, I buy local more. I love buying local. I love supporting local. But like when the balls are twice as expensive locally than they are on Amazon, I can wait 2 days.
He didn't believe it. He said, you guys made a mistake. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, 3 wiffle balls can't be $13.50. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, I probably would have said the same thing.
It would have been really expensive growing up in today's day and age.
I think those things were 99 cents when I was a kid.
I think it was literally you could buy 5 for $5. Like when I was a kid. So think about the amount of inflation that would have been had between the two.
Almost zero.
Cost of wiffle balls.
The hard part for us when I was a kid, and I mean this seriously, those wiffle balls we're talking about, they're actually hard to find. Like you couldn't find them. They didn't have them at Walmart.
Really?
And we would play so much they just didn't last very long.
No,
we just pounded them into submission.
And then we'd hit them into the into the gutters on the roof.
Ours got stuck on the apartment roof gutters. Yeah,
all the time. I mean,
you hit them up on the roof and it starts trickling down. And you're just like, please,
bounce. No. Hit hard.
There's another one gone.
Yep.
Surprised we never found our way up there.
There's a treasure trove of wiffle balls in our gutters.
The drainage could not have been great just because of wiffle balls.
We had the best setup ever at my buddy Bryce's house. We had one of those. No, Jones. He had one of those the basketball goals. He lived kind of with so the garage was to the left, and then you had like a breezeway walking that was covered to his house. That was a perfect, probably 30 feet from home plate, maybe 40 feet. It was ideal. It was probably 50 feet, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But, as a kid, maybe it was closer. It just felt further. It was a perfect fence. If you hit it over the fence, and then he had a peak on the garage, it was the perfect foul line. And then his house to the right side, the corner, was a perfect foul line. So it was a perfect yard. And then we had the backstop that on the basketball goal that was actually like a triangle.
Okay.
And if you hit that, it was a strike. It was like the perfect strike zone. And it could be low and away, but for whatever reason, it was perfect. If you hit it, it's a strike. You hit it over the fence, it's a homer. And we had pretty much the easiest game and the best setup ever. So we wore wiffle ball out as if there was no other game in the world for about 3 years. And there are still, I guarantee you, there are a million wiffle balls in Joe Dooley's gutters.
I can just tell you, Maison DeVille, we had one apartment building flat straight in front of us. So the advantage was straightaway center was the shortest fence, basically.
Of course, yeah.
But nobody hits Oppo and wiffle ball.
That's how ours was too, kind of, to be honest with you.
And then there
was
was the side of a building was basically down the third baseline, but it was like another 20 yards down. Yeah. So it's a big disadvantage to pull the ball.
Yeah.
And you tried to make yourself go to center as much as you could. And
that's good
hard
practice.
Because you can't. Yeah, but it's wiffle ball. You want to just yank it as hard as you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, you talk about logging some hours.
Oh,
we'd be out there at like 8 a.m. in the summer and just go.
It's funny.
2 kids, 20 kids.
Oh yeah.
Home run derby forever.
It's the best.
I can't think of anything better between probably, I don't know the exact ages, but probably like between like 9 and 13.
Yeah, that was about right. That's a sweet
10
spot.
10 and 13. Like there was literally not a thing better than wiffle ball.
No, it was the greatest thing ever. It was just amazing. We had chalk bases. It was the best. And I'll tell you the other thing, like we didn't argue balls and strikes. We didn't argue with pegs. and we respected the rules of the game. Like, guess what? And we play with the kids now. And I play with the kids in the neighborhood. We do adults versus kids. It's amazing. When it's like 3 adults against 8 kids, it's amazing. We have a blast. We really have a good time. And the kids are like leading off second base. They're trying to take
big.
2.
Are we playing leadoffs and steals? And I'm like, what world?
I'm like, dude, y'all need to learn the
Ricky
Oh,
Henderson?
that was a ball. It was like right down the middle. Like you fouled it. You hit a short little, 6-inch bunt type ball. You barely hit it. Oh, foul. No, it's not.
Because they don't like it. Yeah. We get a couple of those.
I mean, I'm just like, goodness gracious alive. Like, what are we doing?
I've just canceled the whole like strikeouts and balls and strikes. I'm like, just hit.
Yeah.
Because I get tired of the other kids trying to call it and then not call it. And then, like you said, foul tips and the different rules. I'm like, you know what? We're going until we get it in fair play. I don't care. I want everybody to hit. So just swing the bat when you come up. We're not doing this stupid stuff.
I mean, I'm just so over the amount of complaints. And finally, I've told him, I'm like, look, I don't want to hear it. Like, if I hear it, and if you're leading off, I'm going to peg you as hard as I can. And I have. And they learned. And they don't lead off as far anymore.
There's one rule that my kids have begged to not have anymore. They're like, can we please not have pegs?
Sorry.
It's ended poorly a couple of times. I've ended some games.
Well, how do you play?
I don't know how you get it. I'm sorry. Like, are y'all going to cover first and I'm going to throw it to you?
It's 3 versus 1. How am I supposed to get you out?
It's a great thought. I do the same thing in kickball. I'll play 3 versus 1 and I'm like, am I supposed to force it second? How am I going to get you out?
And we're not being bullies. Pegs, for those of you that did not grow up playing wiffle ball, 1, I'm sorry for your childhood. 2, wiffle ball is the greatest sport ever because of pegs. It is literally penal if you are reckless running the bases. That's the best part about it. Like, it literally teaches you proper base running etiquette. It does. Because guess what? Like in real life, you're out. Oh, you hang your head. You walk back to the dugout. You jog back to the dugout, what have you. In wiffle ball, there is cost of doing business. You try to take 2 on an infield single, you're getting smoked. And it's going to hurt. And it's going to remind you, you know what? Next time I should probably just stay at first. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's real world consequences. And I feel like I'm just trying to do and I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but if you try to take 2 or turn what is a lazy pop fly into a triple, guess what? You're going to find out. That's the way it goes.
I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
I mean, there was Tommy Wyndham's tweeting and he said either homer or an out. That was one thing that, and again, kind of going to what you're saying about the complaints. I can recall playing full games with one other individual and the person pitching would assign whatever the hit was. So you get a hard ground ball, but it looks like it went right to short. He's like, no, it's an out, man. Short's got that. And you didn't argue with it. You're just like, if you say so. And then you hit a rope like deep in the gap. He's like, I'll give you 2 on that one. It's double. I mean, we would play full games without running bases. And
love that.
You'd assign the outs and you would go. That's just the way it was.
I love that.
But you bring up the point about the complaining, and I don't recall all of it, but I do feel like today's youth comes up with things to complain about more so than we did. There's so many like rule technicality, whatnots. I'm just like, guys, just swing the bat and play.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And they changed the rules. Like they want to play like, all right, this inning you only have to get 2 outs. This inning it's 1 out. This inning it's 3 outs. It's like, no, it's 3 outs every inning. It's 3 outs.
They just switch up the rules mid-game.
Oh, it's 5-run rule. In this inning, next up, it's like, this is not nom. You can score. If you score 30, you score 30 in 1 inning.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry. If you got to be in the field forever until you get your outs, guess what? You're going to be in the field forever. And guess what? That goes for us too. Like, if I'm out in the field and I can't get anybody out, and I got to stand there. I got to wear it. There's no bailout here. Like, and then we're not talking about like organized sports here. I'm talking about like fun on the field, in the street sports. Like there's the amount of rule. There are no rules in the street sports. There shouldn't be, at least.
No.
Like, it's unbelievable.
A couple folks tweeting in, Alex Sullivan, camping chair behind home plate for balls and strikes changed the neighborhood game forever.
We did that. We always had a camping chair.
If it landed in the chair, that's a strike?
Yeah, if it hits the back. So basically, and it's honestly like a perfect tilt. It depends on the height of the actual batter. But when we would go play anywhere other than Bryce's house, we took one of the, I would not necessarily a camping chair, but more like a foldable old school chair.
Old cheap lawn chairs that were metal with like the the vinyl, like it looked like a plaid sewn vinyl,
Yeah,
and they
yes.
had the white plastic handles that like flapped up and down.
Yes, that's what these were.
Those things weighed like 7 ounces.
No, that's what they were.
Yeah.
And we would put them across our back like you would put it on your shoulder. And we all had the motorized scooters or whatever. And we would go and take the game wherever we wanted to take it.
Oh, so y'all started this whole thing.
No, we had motorized scooters, not battery operated scooters.
You had gas?
Yeah. I had to put oil in and everything. It was like, it was a teaching. It was a lesson.
No wonder you're so handy.
Yeah. Visa Venom.
No,
you can look it up.
No Jiffy Lube for you growing up.
We had Visa Venoms. And we didn't have them in second grade
Changed
like
my
the
own
kids
oil.
nowadays. We had them when we were in 7th grade, probably.
He didn't need YouTube to look it up either. He had to do it his own.
No, it was literally came in a packet.
How
It
do
was
you know
like
how to do
pre-purchased.
that? My scooter.
I learned.
I could change a tire too.
My battery on
If
my
it's on a
scooter.
2-inch wheel.
I learned it.
I actually am okay with the scooter thing.
That's a great idea though. We never thought of that. Never had that.
Yeah.
That's a perfect idea
It
though.
was great.
And it keeps the balls from if you don't
Correct.
have like a natural backstop, it keeps them from going.
Yep.
Greg Skipworth tweeting in as a school teacher, I'm in the home stretch as a grandfather chasing 4 baseball schedules, 1 travel ball on Saturdays, and have 0 time to decompress. It's at the point that I don't care who wins, I just want to go home. By the way, I've been there. I'll just say, and I'm not going to go into many of them, give you much about any of them because it's not really important. But 3 of the first 4 at bats, both teams combined last night, 1 hit. You talk about moving fast. I looked to one of the other dads in the back and I was like, didn't expect the old pitcher's duel in 7U.
In coach pitch?
We got it though. I mean, it was moving quick. Not normal, but it's
So
kind of
progress not being made in GBBA is what you're telling me?
No, actually it was great plays made by infielders.
Love that.
Really good plays and like impressive plays.
Oh, so you meant like one guy reaching base.
Nobody
I was
struck
thinking
out.
one guy
No.
making contact. I was
Oh,
like,
no,
golly.
no.
Brutal.
No strikeouts at all. Just all, a couple balls hit right on the button, but either a catch in the outfield or a couple good plays by infielders. And you're like, man, we are moving here. It's
Love
been
it.
7 minutes and we're in the top of the 3rd.
Boom.
But yeah, you don't expect that. But either way, wiffle ball was the greatest, man.
Best. It's still my favorite sport, I think. I love this, but our kids are getting to the age now where we're like, it's back in the mix.
Yeah, the problem is our yard. It wouldn't be fair.
It can't
contain me.
I'll tell you what I got no time for either. And this is not being like some hardo. I got no time for the flag football games. I just don't have, like, all anyone does is go deep. And our yards aren't big enough to play flag football. They're just not. Like, we need to go, you want to play flag football? Cool. We'll go to the field. Like, I mean, you watch them play this flag football game, literally all, and then you tell you the other thing, this drives me insane. When the quarterback won't throw the ball in flag football and there's no pass rush.
He just sits there.
Yes. No, he sits there and then takes off.
Oh yeah. And they can't do that.
Well, that's the rule nowadays.
No, it's not.
Yes, that's the way they play in front yard football right now.
Quarterback can't leave the pocket until he's rushed. That's the way we played.
Yeah,
but you get 1 blitz every 4 downs.
Correct.
And
you have 4 downs to score.
No, the quarterback can't just run. That's not no. That's like an earth rule.
Did you play 4 downs to score? Or did you play 2 completion?
We had 1 first down.
2 completion moves.
No, we had 1 first down marked.
Oh, you had marked.
So it was like kind of on. It would have been on the equivalent of say the 35 of each side if that's how you were looking at it.
Yeah.
So like if you get to that post first down, you get more downs. Some kids did try to go with the completions, like 3 completions, 2 completions.
It was 2 completions, move the chains.
Which is what you should play because then, like you said, it wouldn't be just toss it deep every time.
No, it was fun. It was actually taught you like a little bit of like, okay, hang on, we need one here, boys. Like, you rub this guy, let's set a pick here. Like it actually worked out pretty good. But the front yard games have gotten really fun. But the amount of complaining that happens in front yard football to me is on another level. Like it's on another level. And then the quarterback taking off and running when nobody's open because everybody ran a 9 is a little bit frustrating.
Leach with love, front yard football. 4 verts every time.
4 vert
Just
every
go.
time. Yep.
All right, that was fun. Relive some of the glory days. I mean, RBI baseball and wiffle ball, man, that was like 80% of my childhood.
What's RBI baseball? Video game?
Nintendo game, yeah.
Oh.
OG Nintendo. RBI baseball.
Is that the one with the that and you had like one really skinny guy that had like kind of a closed stance that was standing straight up?
Yeah, I had chubby guys, skinny guys.
Chubby guys, skinny
Most
guys.
of them were chubby.
There was
but
one
yeah.
team that was like lime green and yellow, like highlighter.
I don't remember that. I know Boston was stacked. Jim Rice, you had to sub Tony Armas in.
No, these guys
Ellis
weren't.
Burks
They
led
didn't
off.
have real
What's sad
players.
is I consider and give you the whole lineups of teams.
didn't have real players.
You had American League All-Star, NL All-Stars. Yeah, no, I know which one you're talking about. This is not it. No. Bases Loaded did not.
Bases Loaded was what
have real players. Yeah,
was what we had.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, RBI baseball a lot more fun than that. They were playing on about the equivalent of like 120-foot field.
First of all, Bases Loaded was the sickest game of all time. And look at this. Look at that screenshot. I mean, you know how much talent you had to have as an art designer to design that?
Better than RBI. RBI was more fun though.
No way.
Fun. Yes, 100%. It's not fun when it rains. It's not fun when the weather changes, but you do need to know about Train. Spring weather unpredictable here. That's why you need the reliability of a Train, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. Right now, you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Train home comfort systems. Find out more at train.com. It's hard to stop a train. Most of us don't want the government involved in our college sports. Occasionally, they come up with what most people may deem good ideas. There's one out there now that you might think is. We'll tell you what it is and what it's for, potentially next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Obviously, this NCAA settlement, Greg, is looking like it's going to come down any day. I feel like we've been saying that for 3 months, by the way.
Yeah, right.
7/24, Friday, May 16th, Jocks 94.5. Watch live on YouTube. You can also listen online, jocksfm.com. Tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill. You'll be like it is at our house when I walk in, 3-man fronts on every day, because my wife has it come on at a certain time when they're all downstairs getting ready for school and work and whatnot. And so it'll just start turning on by itself. And then you've got Mac and Cube every morning. Podcast also jocksfm.com and on the app. I don't know when this is actually going to happen, when it's going to come down, but they say it is, which means government will have a lot to do with the future of college football. Some people are going further to involve the government in college football. They want them to come up with different rules. They want them to do different things. And I want to know if you are on board with this one, because this might not be as bad as some people believe. There is an Ohio representative that has presented a new bill. Tex Fisher, feels like he needs to be in the Fort Worth area, has presented a bill that is designed to almost entirely end noon kickoffs for Ohio State.
That's going to be tough.
Outside of the rivalry game with Michigan, traditionally played at noon Eastern, it would prevent a game from being kicked off before 3:30 p.m. when a state university is involved. The other way to get around a noon kickoff, banned in the state of Ohio, according to this bill, would be if both teams are ranked in the top 10 of the AP poll. I would feel like that's almost more reason to not have it at noon. But Tex has different thoughts. Now,
what do you think?
I think I know that how the Big Ten gets the majority of their bills paid, and Big Noon Kickoff is probably going to be against this one.
Maybe they change it to Big 4 kickoff.
But is he not going against his own administration? Because is it not a Big Ten rule to not be able to play those night games later in the year? That's a Big Ten rule, correct?
Yeah, I think it's a Big Ten rule. Night games later in the year. I think it's after October,
right, for the month of November,
31st or whatever. Yeah, 28th or some weird date, some random date. But Ohio State knowingly signed the contract with Fox in an effort to get more money, knowing that Fox was going to prioritize the noon window.
They've kind of marketed their entire college football package around it.
It'd be like me, and think about how absurd this is. Hey, you know what? Ryan Haney, I love doing radio at Jocks. I have the best time. Cole is one of my best buddies. I love talking ball every day. But guess what, man? Hey, I can't start until 10 a.m. I got to get the kids to school. Got to nurse. I had a couple beers last night. Got to nurse one. I got to go get a workout in. I can't get here until 10. So I appreciate it, and you're gonna have to pay me the same. But I no longer am really wanting to do that 7 to 10 slot, or going up to him and be like, yeah, you know what? I love what we're making. I love morning drive. It's great. But hey, guess what? We're gonna do just 1 hour now. You can't agree to.
I'll owe you forever.
You can't agree. You can't agree to the parameters of what your contract says as far as when you're going to be on television and take the most money. And the most money came from Fox. And Fox has made a priority to make noon great and to prioritize the noon window. And then all of a sudden not be okay with the noon window. Hey, how can you do that?
Is this another example of a politician trying to put something in place that they know will not pass, but to get people behind them?
Well, it might pass. I mean, could it not? How would it not pass?
I think the people at Ohio State will step up and say, hey, Tex, while we will turn to you for our gas tax changes, let us allow you to understand why we have $7 billion coming into our conference from one entity.
Do you think Ohio State likes noon games?
How many do you think they played last year?
5?
Nope.
More?
Yeah.
7?
Yeah. 6 straight to end the season.
I think playing a noon game, seriously, like as someone that has played them and as someone that currently calls them, is one of the worst experiences you can possibly have. It's awful. I'm going to be honest with you. It's awful. Like, I don't like it. I don't. I've called 11 o'clock games. I don't like it.
Especially the actual 11. Because when I was playing, the JP game was 11:30. You at least had an extra 30 minutes of sleep. That 11 o'clock kick is...
Yeah, we only played in one of those when I was in school. I remember it vividly. It was at Vanderbilt, and it was awful.
I mean, people don't understand. You're getting up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And for a college kid, you have to have pregame meal a certain amount of hours
4
out.
hours.
You have to get to the stadium 2 hours before kick. Sometimes you're not staying 2 blocks from the stadium. Like teams that play at Auburn stay in Montgomery. Imagine an 11 a.m. kick. That's a 45-minute bus ride minimum with police escorts. Probably more. It's not enjoyable at all.
It's not. It's not. It's terrible.
I don't think I'm preaching to the choir here. I think the fans agree. Like, they want to get lubed up. They want to hit the tailgates early. They want to make sure that the brisket got time to smoke. Whatever it is they're doing. Whatever's happening at the tail. They want to get the tent set up. Hell, the tent guys can't even get out there and get the ropes in the ground. But you have to do it. You can't say you can't play any. And why would you allow it only for 2 top 10 teams? Those are the ones that are never going to be at noon if there's an option.
Yep.
Which for Fox, there's not. They're going to put that biggest game there.
Which is great. But you need to probably take your frustrations out.
Why not tone it down a little bit and say, can't have back-to-back?
Well, you should have probably agreed to that before you signed the deal.
I'm speaking more to Tex here, not to the Big Ten.
Those who pays the bills make the rules.
Fair enough.
Hey, boss. Yeah, really, really, really have appreciated you hiring me. It's great. I'm no longer working the night shift. I want to get normal sleep. Hey, you know what? I know I'm a nurse at this new hospital, but you know what? I got to be honest with you. This whole, working from 7P to 7A, it's not working for me. I'm going to go 7A, 7P. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work. You can't do that.
Hold on a second. Steven in Texas. This really him? Steven in Texas tweets in at Mac and Cube. Here's Tex. He's not from Fort Worth, FYI. Agree. You see that picture?
Yeah.
Surely not. This is a guy that's trying to legislate college football in the state of Ohio?
I respect the grind.
What does it look like Tex does for his day job before he got into politics? Computer programmer?
Yeah.
IT guy?
Moonlights as a bass guitarist.
For a reggae band?
For a reggae band.
At the local coffee
ska.
shop?
No, I don't think ska. I think definitely.
He's open mic night?
Yeah.
They don't clap, they snap.
He definitely does. He definitely does Dashboard Confessional covers.
What does that mean?
Oh, those infidelities are screaming.
Hands down, he is definitely not going to get this bill passed.
Has he seen Alanis Morissette in concert? I'm going to say yes.
Not only the acoustic show, he went for the full band and stayed for the premium show later. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
He went to Unplugged back when that was the thing?
I know it's in an effort to gain favorability with his constituents. I get that. Because Ohio State fans, if I were an Ohio State fan, I'd be real frustrated.
I'm sure they're livid over 6 in a row.
I'd be real frustrated. But at the same time, I'd say, yeah, I kind of like being able to pay my team $40 million. I like the roster we have.
Yeah, when revenue sharing rolls around, they're not going to be complaining about the check.
I do tell you what I like is I also like being able to get home at a reasonable hour, I suppose. Like,
that is the one aspect of early games that you call that I'm jealous of. I mean, Greg will text me and be like, all right, ready to get this going and watching your game. I'm like, from where? Home?
Oh, I mean, put it this way. I mean, I was able to not just call a game last year, but also attend a game last year as a fan. In 2 different cities.
These were Ohio State's last 6 games. Michigan, Indiana, Northwestern, Purdue, at Penn State.
Wait, Northwestern was a nooner?
Yep.
On Fox?
I don't know if it was on Fox or not, but their last 6 apparently were at noon, which would be Nebraska, Penn State, Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan. So basically, your 3 best games of the year: Indiana, Michigan, and Penn State.
Well, it's unfortunate, but you know what? You knew what you were getting into. This is not news. It's not like Fox.
The article about the game, the recap on the AP was written at 4:23 p.m. So I don't think they could have kicked it any other time.
To be fair, the Northwestern game was Big Ten Network. A Fox subsidiary, but yes.
Still. I bet fans are livid. Remember when this happened in Alabama like 3 years ago?
What did they do?
All the other games.
Just give us a night game, is all Alabama fans said.
All the other games for Ohio State in that stretch were on Fox.
You know what's funny, though, is there are...
I can solve this problem for you, too. Don't be good. Start losing games.
It's not that hard.
Big noon kickoff will not take you. Just lose a couple.
Yeah.
Okay, Cowboys.
Solve that problem. Tex. Bump your NIL down. Let
Tex-
Jeremiah Smith transfer. That won't happen anymore.
Tex looks like the son of T-Bob Hebert and Matthew Stafford.
Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
I got to know if that's really him or not. I need a bio on Tex.
I respect the effort, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have all the money and then not play the games when you're asked to play the games.
It's the reality of it.
Like,
That's the way it goes. You don't need all the money to get into a new home, though. Gusty Gouls and the Gusty Gouls Group can help you with that. Call 205-542-1996 today. Brokered by eXp Realty. Served over 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. Over 850 5-star Google reviews. Guys, they know what they're doing. They know what inventory is coming available. They've been all around Birmingham, helped people all around Birmingham, not only sell their homes, get into new homes. They know what's coming. They have the market cornered. Gusty Gouls Group is what you need if you're looking for a new home. Go to GustyGoulsGroup.com right now. Button at the top right of your page. Smash that. Very little information. You'll find out what they think your home's worth, what they could get. 205-542-1996 for all your real estate needs. Just Google Gusty Gouls Group and read for yourself, or go to GustyGoulsGroup.com. When we come back, a new rating system for individual players. You probably think you know the entity that's putting it out. You would be wrong. I'll tell you what the rating system is and who's putting it out, and then what players are on it right after this. Mac and Cube in the morning. By the way, Tex Fisher from Youngstown. Didn't see that one coming. Not your Youngstown anymore, Mark Stoops. Oh, well. It is 7:40 a.m. Friday, May 16th, Jocks 94.5. We love made-up ratings, right? Missed forced tackle rate. Give me some other ones that PFF makes up. Catchable football percentage.
Yes.
Completable football rate.
Yeah, adjusted completion percentage.
Any of the just hocus pocus makeup fractions that
Big time throw percentage.
By the way, let me stop this for you guys real quick. Have you guys seen Nicolas Cage filming this John Madden movie?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Why? He looks too skinny. Need to gain more weight.
His face does, but he looks almost exactly like a young Madden.
So does Christian Bale as Al Davis.
I haven't seen those photographs yet.
That's in the chat. Yeah, look, it's wow.
So people are getting yelled at on that set, is what you're saying. That.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's knowing how method he is.
Wouldn't be surprised. You mean yes.
Straight method.
Yes.
He's method man.
On3 has a new ranking. The On3 top 10 impact ranking in college football. Tell me we didn't need it.
Always needed that.
Would you like to hear the On3 initial top 10 college football impact rankings?
Not particularly.
Or would you like to try to guess them? Because I guess you will get at least 8, maybe 9 of these if you would like to give it a go.
Okay.
I'll accept guesses from the field.
All right.
Go for it.
Arch Manning.
Number 10.
Really?
You didn't have him in your top 10. Not sure why you're mad at them for having him at 10.
I'm just surprised he's not 2.
Okay, you got one.
All right.
I mean, 1 and 2 are the easiest on the planet.
Jeremiah Smith.
Number 1
Ryan Williams
is number 6.
Okay, so I got 3 of the top 10. Nick Singleton.
Not on the list.
Drew Aller.
Not on the list.
Okay, John Mateer.
We're talking impact here, Greg. Not good playability.
Fair enough.
Not completion percentage.
John Mateer.
Not on the list. That's the one that I would have probably raised my hand first on.
Lenore Sellers.
Is number 8.
Okay. So I have 4.
We're talking On3 initial impact ranking for 2025 college football.
Okay. Don't tell me Harold Perkins.
He is not there.
Oh, gosh.
Thankfully.
I got nervous for a second. I blacked out. Okay, so we have 4. Let's go with Carson Beck.
He is not on there. Coming off surgery might be why.
Garrett Nussmeier.
Not on the list. Another one that I may have questioned. But we're talking impact, Greg, not throwing passes.
Okay.
And I feel like he'll have a pretty big impact on his team, but yeah.
I think that's a safe bet. And I'm not looking the players up. I'm looking up names of schools. I got to think of the schools. Let's go.
There is one more from a school you've already mentioned, another one from a school you've already mentioned, and one school you've mentioned has 2 more on the list. So essentially,
Julian Sand.
3 schools make up 3, 4, 7 of the top 10. And he is not one, but there is one more from that school. Come on. He's a top 5 player in the country.
From Ohio State.
/ Alabama.
Julian Sand?
Caleb Downs, number 3.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. I was
Moving on.
I didn't think they'd have defensive players.
That was number 3. Actually, there's a defense player number 2.
All right.
And number 9.
Love that. Corner from Notre Dame. Jeremiah Smith.
No.
No, Jeremiah Love.
No.
Not running back, not an impact
That would be
player.
running back.
Yes.
There is a cornerback from Notre Dame,
Yes.
not the one that you named. Leonard Moore.
Yeah, Leonard Moore, number 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
He's
Leonard
actually
Moore.
number 7.
Love it.
So good job. You guessed
Okay.
the number. And
He wears number 7.
yeah, but he's ranked. His his impact ranking is 7th overall in college football.
He's a good player. I don't know what an impact ranking is, but he is a good player. All right, so how
What do
many
you
we
mean
got?
you don't know what impact ranking is? It's your impact on the game
Oh,
and where you rank with it.
Of course.
Number 2 is Dylan Stewart. Number 5, I think I do. Well, we haven't gotten to 4 yet. 4, Colin Simmons. 5, I think you'll appreciate Sam Levitt.
Oh, let's go.
You said 7, Leonard Moore, 6, Ryan Williams, 8, Lenore Sellers, 9, Anthony Hill Jr.
So Tejas has 2 defenders.
2 defenders, 3 total.
Love that. All right. Cool. How you feel about it?
Here's my problem with the list. I think all these players will have great impacts for their teams on their games and are all great players. Would all be in the discussion of just overall top 10 players in the country. I think when I did my top 5 players returning in college football, I know Jeremiah Smith was there. I know Caleb Downs was there. I believe Anthony Hill and Ryan Williams were on that list. So that would be 4 of the 5 that were on my list. So yeah, I mean, I think that they're all there. Here's the problem that I have with the list. I believe, now you call me crazy if you want to.
I might.
And this is by no fault of the individual player. Just, this is my theory. You tell me how bananas I am. The further away you are from the ball, the harder it is to impact the game. Now, I know that is a wacky thought process there. But the closer you are to the ball, the more impact you have on the game. So Sam Levitt, Arch Manning, probably going to impact the game a lot. Why? Touch the ball on 95% of the plays.
95?
98.
I'm going to say.
We'll get a direct snap in there every now and then.
Once or twice.
Caleb Downs, great player, fun player. Very easy to avoid in many instances. Not all, because he'll roll down the box, play near the line of scrimmage, he'll blitz. But we can get away from him much easier than we can, let's just say, if Derek Brown was playing college football. Same thing for Leonard Moore. Guess what we can do? Throw the ball the opposite direction or just not throw your direction.
Yeah.
Now, we can then make the argument of, well, our impact rating contains parts of which he covered well and then therefore force the ball to go other places. I don't know what math equation they're using for this, which is probably 1, and it's guess. So I think they're all good players. I don't really have a problem with any. If you're talking about true impact of the game, I could probably give you a few more that I would come up with. And this is just impacting the game, not quality of player. Caleb Downs and Leonard Moore. Because the further I remove you from the football on every play, the easier it is for us to avoid you. And there will be times when it's not easy.
But
Anthony Hill Jr. should be way up this list. If we're talking about impacting the game, he blitzes. He lines up on the line of scrimmage. He lines up on the edge of the line of scrimmage. He's off the ball. He can play sideline to sideline. He can play physical football and take on blockers. He can play downhill. Like, he can impact almost every single play. And the quarterbacks are always going to be up on this list. Like Dylan Stewart, Colin Simmons. Guess what? We'll run the other way. Now, I don't agree with the age-old adage of when you face a good pass rusher, just run right at him. That doesn't work, folks. I know y'all think it does. Well, okay. Well, I don't think it's going to work for those two. I think they're good enough and have enough tenacity to be able to offset that to an extent.
Yes.
It doesn't there are certain people that think it always works. It doesn't. So Lenore Sellers, the ability to use his legs, what he can do with his arm, and probably not having near as good of a receiver core as some of the other quarterbacks we're going to talk about that maybe should be or are on this list. He's going to impact a lot of his game. A lot. So that would be the only issue that I would take with the list. But once again, I have no idea how it was constructed other than I like him, put him on.
Fair enough. I think there are several instances in which a corner and or a safety can greatly impact the game. Like, having played with Darrelle Revis, the fact that most quarterbacks wouldn't even give that side of the football the time of day. They're already looking in the other direction, say, well, all right, well, that guy's eliminated. I might as well just look at one of the other 2 wide receivers or 3 wide receivers or 1 tight end, 2 wide receivers, whatever it may be, because Reeve ain't going to let that guy work. That's a pretty big impact on the game.
Okay, let's save that thought right there and talk about it on the other side, because I have a counter to that. that I think you're going to have to agree with.
Okay.
And we'll discuss it next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. Friday, May 16th, 7:53, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Your theory on the Revis-type players, that when it takes away one side of the field and it shuts everything over there down, how much easier it makes it for a defense, what it does to an offense, how it constricts an offense. I agree with that totally, 100%. But honestly, how many of that guy have we seen? Revis, Dion, Travis Hunter, who else?
Not many.
So while in theory, that's great, and I agree with you, and I think you're right, I don't know if I'm going to put Leonard Moore in that category of removing a third of the football field on every play. Not that he's not a good player. Not that he might be a top 10 impact player for 2025. I don't know. But I don't feel like he completely removes one side of the field on every down against every player. Don't think he's there. So while I do agree, I just don't know if it's to that extent. So if he's not there, is he a top 10 impact ranking player for 2025? I don't know. I don't think I'd have him in my top 10. Good player. Not a fan of his work, but top 10 impact player for 2025? I don't know. I think I'd come up with 4 or 5 more that are going to impact the game more than he is. I will say I'll give them credit for this, Greg. They didn't put a number by it. So at least we didn't have a fake mathematical equation that led to this. This is just what we like.
Yeah. In which case, that's great.
Like,
The problem is,
what if I threw this one at you? Parker Brailsford.
he's great, but the reality is this list should exclusively be made up of quarterbacks. Like, if you want to talk about the impact of the game, nobody impacts the game more than that position. And in that particular case, you could maybe make a case for a wide receiver because of how a defense would have to tilt coverage, leave 2 on them, double them, what have you. You can make a case for a wide receiver, but it should probably be 8 quarterbacks and 2 wide receivers. If you really want to talk about it.
No D lineman?
No. Because all it takes, that's true. And it requires a chip or a rub or keeping a tight end in or, what have you. But if you get rid of the ball real quickly, I don't think I would have a D lineman in there. You got an elite screen game. You can neutralize those guys. Not saying they're not great. Not saying they're not a pain in the butt to deal with. You can neutralize them. I know you can't neutralize is a quarterback.
They get to your quarterback quick, too, on a screen, knock him out of the game. Impact. Jump up with that wingspan, pick off the screen, impact. Top 10 impact facility.
3 times that happens a year.
Maybe. Top 10 impact facility in Birmingham, Game Day Men's Health. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Sign up for that free consultation. You get a free PSA test, free testosterone test. If you're lacking energy, if you're getting poor sleep, if you feel on edge, they can help. Want to lose weight? They can help. The peptides are now in stock for anti-aging, skincare, weight loss, better sleep. They can help you with all that by going to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Hour number 2 underway. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. 800-239-9569. If you were thinking about impact players in college football, what players may be left off this list that we just read? 800-239-WJOX. You can also text into the show if you'd like to be a part that way. 205-834-9450. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Jeremiah Smith, Dylan Stewart, Caleb Downs, Colin Simmons, Sam Levitt, Ryan Williams, Leonard Moore, Lenore Sellers, Anthony Hill Jr., Arch Manning. And I think the ones that people generally, Greg, are going to have a problem with, they're going to say Sam Levitt, and they're going to say Leonard Moore, just because they don't know who he is, and then probably Anthony Hill Jr. But I think Anthony Hill Jr. should be higher on the list just because of the different things he does for that defense.
Right.
But after running through it, are there individuals, and you said a lot of quarterbacks, and you guessed a lot of quarterbacks before we actually got to it. Who else maybe stuck out in your mind of how is he not there? And some of this, I think, too, is like, okay, I'll give you one that I think could. I'm not going to guarantee it and say he definitely is, because if he ends up being this, then most likely his quarterback is ahead of him on the list, like Eric Singleton Jr. at Auburn.
Yeah.
A guy who you can work him in the screen game. Catch and run is going to be lethal. He can be a deep target. He can be a deep threat. You can line him up in the backfield. You can give him ends around. You can give him push passes. He's a guy that is going to draw attention wherever he goes, and that obviously impacts the game as well. Like, those are the kind of guys that I think about that probably should be on this list.
Correct.
You mentioned Nick Singleton. I don't think Penn State's going to have 3 backs this year like they did last year. Like, he's probably going to have to carry a lot more of the load, and you're not going to have a utility all-world unicorn tight end. So he's going to have to do more for that team.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think Katron Allen might be a better back, but nobody thinks that because Katron Allen wasn't, the top 5 player in the country in recruiting. I think the other thing that sometimes irritates me about these lists, and look, we fall victim to it also. It's nothing about on 3. It's just, all right, what school does he play for? What's going to generate the most clicks? Let's make sure we get a few Ohio State, a few Texas. Like you want to talk about impact players? Look at Des Reed from Pittsburgh. Like, small, scatty back, but the guy had 55 catches last year as a running back.
Yeah.
In an offense that struggled to throw the football when their starting quarterback got hurt. So I think that's a little bit frustrating for me from time to time, because I always feel like the smaller schools that don't necessarily generate the clicks, their players don't necessarily get the love that they probably deserve. I mean, let's think of another one. I mean, let's go with I'm trying to think, like Kentucky, Zion Childress, a safety last year. Like, that guy was amazing. You know what I mean? Like, undersized, not like an NFL prospect freak show, but like just a great player that had tremendous impact on the game. Not on the list.
Like, I would probably think about a Peter Woods on this list, because what he's going to be able to cause from a problematic standpoint inside, like, he's somebody that you might actually tilt your run game away from. Just say, you know what, just run away from 11. Just get it the other direction. But you can put him at 0 nose, and he can affect both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
He can dent the pocket. He can force runs to bounce. He can bat balls down. He can obviously line up a little bit wider, and he's got enough twitch to be able to be a pass rusher that wins with moves and kind of give you that. I'm not saying he's Dylan Stewart off the edge or anything, but like, he just feels like, because of where he is, like, you can say, oh, well, we'll just drop back and throw it. Well, he's still going to impact that. He's got enough speed to chase down a screen. Like, I think somebody like him, based on where he's lined up and the problems that he causes, is arguably somebody that could or should be on this list.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't find any pushback from me on that. Like, I think he's a great player. I mean, I think the world of him. The problem is, like, he can play inside now. He's playing a little out of position last year, so his impact wasn't felt quite as much. He's not an end. But because they didn't have depth, he had to play end. They didn't have enough defensive ends last year.
Right.
Like, how is, an Antonio Williams at Clemson not considered? The guy impacts the return game. He impacts, he's a great slot receiver. He can play inside and out. I mean, he's excellent. Just an excellent football player. That's good.
I'd say I got one for you. I told you I would have put Parker Brailsford on my list because he's touching the football on every play, number one. And he's a really good player. And mentally, I know what he does. How about this one? If he's healthy, if he's 100%, Whit Weeks.
Love him. You know how I feel about Whit Weeks.
But think about what he's asked to do. I mean, run through, pressure, sideline to sideline, play outside, play inside. Like he's asked to do just about everything.
Yep.
And so therefore, because number one, you don't know exactly where he's going to be lined up. You don't know exactly what his assignment's going to be. I mean, a lot of guys you can look at, you can game plan for because, hey, if we run this, give them this look, this is what he's going to be assigned to do.
Yes.
You never know with him.
Never.
He might be shooting A gap. He might be singled up on the tight end. I mean, there's no telling. And some of it, he's probably freelancing. So he doesn't even know.
No.
That's where I think true impact for the game comes, when guys are going to be in position to make those kind of plays on a regular basis.
For sure. But think about how many guys, and there's several that we don't know, right? There's a handful that we don't know. But who's more impactful for their team than a guy on a G5 program that if he's out, they're dead. They have nobody else. So why aren't there G5 players listed here? Because if there's one guy that makes an impact on the game, well, being on a team full of all-stars, guess what? Your impact's not going to be felt quite as much. But if you're a one-man show, like so many guys in the G5 are, best example last year being Ashton Genty, then how are no G5 guys represented in this? And you know me, like, don't get me wrong.
Harold Fannin last year?
Harold Fannin at Bowling Green. Like, yes, great
like
example.
100 catches?
A million.
I mean, if he's not playing, they're in trouble.
Ton. I don't even know how many games they won, but I can bet you it'd be a lot less if he wasn't playing. You know what I mean? Like that, and that's just the only thing that bothers me about some of these lists sometimes. It's like, I understand you have a job to do, you have a business to run, but oftentimes you want me to be completely honest. I don't think Ohio State, if Caleb Downs were not on the field for Ohio State, I don't think their win-loss total would be severely impacted. It doesn't mean that he's not an amazing player. It just means that their backup is probably closer to Caleb Downs than the backup of a superstar is at Arkansas State. I've always thought that way.
Well, also think about this. If you have a Peter Woods, what does the next wave look like there? And can you cover that up with the next guy? I'm going to say probably not. Caleb Downs comes out of the game. You can use 4 or 5 other guys to potentially cover that spot up of what the next guy might not be capable of doing.
Right.
But you can switch your whole defense around. Like Peter Woods goes out. What are you doing? You're going to 3 down all of a sudden now? You're going to be an odd defense. You play Okie front. If he goes out, like that's not a real thing. You can't just change your entire front because one guy's out of the game. What if you're getting, 22 personnel and Peter Woods pulled a hamstring or his helmet pops off? Like you can't change your whole defense.
No, you can't.
So that impacts things. I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. The further away from the ball you are, I think the more difficult it be for you to make a list like this, because we can give you a formation to force you to play away from the line of scrimmage and run the ball on every play. And then how impactful is Caleb Downs? All right, well, if he's flying down to the box, guess what we're probably going to do? We're going to play action or RPO him since he wants to play run so bad.
Yep.
Good luck. But because no one's going to disagree with what you're saying. He's not a great player. He's awesome.
It's amazing.
Love him.
Like Jeremiah Smith goes out. Just say, God forbid, he's got a tweaked hamstring, can't go for 4 weeks. Do you think the passing game at Ohio State is going to fall off a cliff? Seriously. Like, do you think all of a sudden with his absence, Carnell Tate can't take some, Brandon Ennis can't take some of the pressure off?
Not with the guys that they have designing it and not with the guys that they have that are lined up in other places. Now, is there one guy that can get them out of jail as often as he can? Absolutely not.
No. There's nobody that is creates more fear than Jeremiah Smith and the opposing team. No, not a single person in college football. He's amazing. Absolutely love that young man. I think he's incredible. Love watching him. Think he's a blast to cover. Think he's a great kid. There's so many things to love about him. But impact? Jeremiah Love. You said he was or was not on the list?
He's not on the list, no.
Okay. Well, probably for good reason. Jeremiah Love last year, as good as he is, the best back in college football, he goes out, guess who's available? Jadarian Price. Jadarian Price goes out, guess who's available? Aeneas Williams. Like, they got depth there. You know what I mean? So, meanwhile, you take Ashton Genty off of Boise State. See ya.
No,
like,
your point is
you go from a 12-win team to a 8-win team. Maybe.
Even not even going that far down. Think about if you were to take, say, a Josh Hoover off of TCU. And I know a lot of that's going to be system, and that can aid the next guy that comes in.
For
but
sure.
I think that's probably going to be a little bit more impactful. I'll give you a good one. How about Seth Hennigan last year?
At Memphis?
25 touchdowns, 6 picks. You think the next guy's just running that thing exactly the way he was?
Well, considering he's like the only guy that's taken snaps for Memphis in the last 8 years. Yeah, I mean,
hell, he might be number one. Just based on reps taken at same place. But that, I had not looked at it through that lens, and I think you're spot on there.
That's
like Jordan McLeod at Texas State. We had him in the bowl game last year.
Yes.
Quarterback Texas State.
Great example.
I mean, mobile, can get out of jail on pressures, can escape the rush, has a strong enough arm to run the entire offense, do everything with. Guy was a dynamo, over 3,000 yards. He had 30 passing touchdowns last year. They are a completely different team without him in the game.
Correct. You want my
Chandler Morris, he didn't play in the bowl game. They started a kid that didn't even start in high school at quarterback. Had not started a game in high school, was their starting quarterback because Chandler Morris left. You think things are a little different? Just a smidge.
I'd say so. That's just my interpretation. Now, everybody views it differently. And I think that's an important thing to discuss. Impact is extremely, extremely different than quality. Like, if I want the best players, if I'm putting together the best 10 players in the sport, it's going to look very different than the most impactful.
Yeah.
If I'm putting together the best, the best prospects in college football, it's going to be very different than the MVP. Because most valuable player, the Heisman is not an MVP award. Because if it was, Ashton Genty would have won that thing almost unanimously. Because without him, that team is about as average as the day is long.
Yep.
So I think, and we talk about this as it relates to any league, most valuable player should be the most indispensable player in the league. Like, if that guy's not on that team, they stink. A la Nikola Jokic. If Jokic doesn't play for the Denver Nuggets, are they anywhere near the top of the Western Conference standings every single year? No, absolutely
you got
not.
some problems.
You got major issues. You take LeBron James off the Cleveland Cavaliers the first time around. They went from being a perennial final contender, and I think they went to the finals like 4 straight years and lost, to a team that was drafting in the lottery the next year and drafted Kyrie Irving. I mean, like, that's valuable. That's impact. The guy that, well, you know what? Hey, I love, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this year, if I had to pick a guy that was going to go and maybe win the Heisman Trophy this year, top of the list would probably be Cade Klubnik, right? I mean, he's probably in the best position to potentially go win it. Well, he's probably, in most cases, the most valuable player on his team. But if he went out, is Clemson still a 10-win football team?
Very doubtful.
Probably not. Right? I mean, I think we have to look at it
number one,
through
they don't have
lens.
that workhorse that we've been talking about. They don't have Ashton Genty. They don't even have Nick Singleton, I don't believe, where they could just hand it to him 26 times a game.
Well, their freshman Giving David's supposed to be the real deal, but we'll see.
Might be.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I think it's.
They had a tackle that was going to be the next Orlando Pace too for a while.
Now, does that mean that? Does that mean that Cade Klubnik's the number 1 overall pick next year? Absolutely not. No. But college football's different. We're not talking about draft prospects. I think people have a hard time separating the two.
Damian, is there a guy that you feel like should have been on this list whose name popped into your brain immediately that was not on the list?
DJ Lagway. DJ Lagway of Florida.
And that's part of that's going to not be measurable when you do what he does that I believe, at least, where you raise the level of other guys around you. So, I do think that he should be somebody that's there. John, anybody for you that you feel like should have shown up here that was not on this list? Greg's got me just searching for smaller school guys now, because I kind of feel like that should be like maybe the entire top 10. The problem is the guys that I would have selected, they've all transferred up.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we don't even know who they are.
And the best part about that is that there will be 5 to 10 guys when we fast forward to the end of the season, and you're sitting there saying, "Oh, hang on a second. All right, yeah, he's now on the list. I don't know his name yet, but he's a dude." How many of us are talking about Fluff Bothwell going into last year?
I'm gonna go 0.
That'd be nobody. Major Applewhite only. I don't know anybody. So this could be a great conversation.
Is Tucker Gleason coming back to Toledo?
I don't know. Maybe.
I expect many people to know.
You look at On3's top 100. I'm looking at the top 100 right now. I didn't find a single G5 guy. Not one.
No, there's not. No, that's what there's not a single one. Top 100 players per On3, not a single G5 player. Top 100 players in college football. That's wild to think about. That's where we are, because we got starters in the G5 going and being third string guys at the Power 5. Saying, no, I'll go sit not only behind the first guy, I'll sit behind the second guy to not start. So it's weird, but
love that.
Unfortunately, that's where it is.
Yep. But I still am a pretty big believer in impact equals value. And I think if you're worth 4 or 5 wins to your team, that makes you a pretty significant impact player. And I don't think there's a G5 player or there's a Power 5 player in the country that I know with 100% certainty is worth 4 or 5 wins. But I know there's a G5 player out there. I might not know his name yet, but I will in about 3 months.
Yeah, we'll know. Because he'll have the numbers, and he'll be most responsible for his team winning games. Mikey Walker tweets in, excuse me, we're the same age at Greg McElroy. That freshman year of Shule was terrible. Being a fraternity pledge wasn't as bad as a football player for early games, but wasn't a good time. We should have that debate on the show. 2-a-days or freshman pledge in fraternity? Which is more difficult?
Well, knowing that
I've never heard those two aligned. Right. One or the other.
Knowing that there's a lot more of our listeners that have gone through pledgeship than have gone through 2-a-days at the D1 level. I'm going to say pledgeship is way harder.
I'll give you 2 days in high school. More difficult than being a pledge in a fraternity as a freshman. I don't know what that is. So I don't know what it. I mean, I've heard people talk about it, but I don't know how hard it is or not hard it is. I know some of the stuff I wouldn't want to have to go through or wouldn't want done to me.
I'd say pledgeship way harder, just for our friends that are listening. For sure,
definitely friends.
They don't make you drink dip spit in 2-a-days.
They don't make you, but you end up doing it, maybe. Coach yelling at you so much.
They don't make you do bows and toes in 2-a-days.
They do 110s and pledgeship.
Pencil rolls.
They turn the lights off and break glass in the room and tell you to walk across it.
Allegedly.
I don't know. My pledgeship was pretty light.
Wonder why.
We weren't allowed to be in fraternities.
For real?
No.
We had our own fraternity. It was called Auburn Food Valley.
Oh. Yeah, that couldn't happen. Rick would have run us out of the room. Not possible. Okay.
I would have died to see Cole Cubelic as a fraternity guy.
Which one? What would my best fit have been? Maybe we should take calls on that.
Omega Psi Phi.
Sell me to your fraternity.
I mean, giving your music Alpha Phi.
I don't know, you're a fashion guy. You might have been Kappa.
Shoulders too stiff, though.
Way too stiff. Put it this way, it wouldn't make step line. It'd been really, really loud.
580 gamma.
We will take your suggestions via Twitter and on the phone.
You definitely would have been Kappa.
800-239-9569. Text in 205-834-9450. What fraternity would I have been in and why? Next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. 800-239-WJOX. We were discussing best fit for a fraternity for me before the break. We have not had any suggestions. So I'm going to take that as the best fit may have just not to been in one.
I mean, there's definitely a couple that come to mind, but for fear of leaving anybody out, I think we'll just avoid the topic. I just don't want any fraternity bros being like, "Oh, you don't think Cole would have been one of us?" I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
There was one that did welcome me, except for like a certain 2-3 get-togethers every year, and then I wasn't allowed.
Well, no.
She let me in there all the other times.
Well, I mean, they pay for that. They pay for that party. And I would imagine that their bar bill would have been a lot higher had Cole Cubelic been there. So I respect that they've kept a firm distance from
Bar
the
and restaurant. Come on now.
Yeah, you know.
He's a 5-tool player.
Yeah, the buffet line probably would have had a dent in it.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Yep.
8:24, Friday, May 16th, right here on Jocks 94.5. Ronnie Jones going to join us in about 6 minutes to discuss the ACC. Keep in mind, we talked yesterday, Miami, probably. Clemson, definitely. Another team or two, possibly, but who else are going to be contenders in that league this year? Who was that just hit that ball, Greg?
That'd be Justin Thomas.
That was some club speed right there.
Really good
That
shot.
one. Michael Kirby tweets in lambda.
Try Lamb.
Well, maybe not the Adams version, but given the rest, yeah, that kind of fits his sensibilities.
Scott Shazer tweets in, would have been a TKE for sure.
I'm not familiar.
I hadn't seen the tape on really any of them, so I don't know.
All right. I think that's a good poll question.
Damien can get that up.
Alpha, Kappa, Q Dog. Which one for Cole?
He would have been a Q.
That's it? Just those two?
Well,
Those three.
you fit the description for one of those.
Okay.
Naturally.
Imagine Cole as a Kappa.
Too clean.
Too clean.
Too clean.
But he had shoes.
This
Shoe
is
game.
a large portion of our audience is out on this conversation right now. So you know.
We played
Cole
the
is-
hits.
just
What do we
imagine
do? We
Cole-
want to go back to youth sports? We can go back to that. That's
No.
all. We'll get him back.
Like Cole in the step show.
Impact ranking.
Impact ranking.
I've been to step shows. Multiple.
All right.
Lost one of our wide receivers on the team after one. Decided to discharge a firearm right into the air afterwards. Not sure why.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
We needed him too. He's a really good player.
Dang.
Man.
Was that like part of the acoustics that they wanted? They like
I'm
needed
not-
the
it was-
gunshot
It wasn't
too?
inside.
Like,
It was outside. I don't know if what needed to happen there, but it was just. I think it was just tomfoolery.
One way to describe it.
That him being gone. But yeah, I mean, it happened. Tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Service.
They're a local company owned by Iraq War veteran Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. They did your whole home back to move your company headquarters, move to cross country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. It's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
So earlier this week, we hit the back and forth of everything we hear about in Chapel Hill sounds like it's crumbling. Then Bill Belichick speaks to the media, and it sounds like everything's put together, and that ship is smooth sailing right through the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean at least. What is the situation with the roster? What is the team going to look like this season? We'll ask Roddy Jones next from the ACC Network on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:31 right here on Jocks 94.5. Appreciate you tuning in. Listen online, jocksfm.com. Also, watch live on YouTube. Search Jocks 945 there, and you can tune in to the show visually each and every morning.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is a short drive up to Coleman, up I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. The experience that you'll find is unlike any other. That's why they're Alabama's largest GMC dealership, and they can offer the largest discounts and the best service. They're number one, not just in Alabama, not just in the Southeast, but according to General Motors, Bill Smith Buick GMC is the number one GMC dealer in the country. They've won Dealer of the Year 5 consecutive years. They've won it 8 times overall, but the best just keep getting better, and the deals are as good as they've ever been. Like a 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. This is 4x4 loaded with leather. $66,340 is the list price. You could take $14,000 off that sticker. You can get that vehicle, a beautiful vehicle, for just over $52,000 at $52,340. It's deals like that keep coming back. That's why 75% of their business is repeat customers. It's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. Take a short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online. Have delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
Let's go to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in Roddy Jones of the ACC Network. And Roddy, we played some of the audio from Bill Belichick a little bit earlier at ACC meetings, and we hear all the different things about what's happening behind the scenes from other portions of the media. And then I feel like every time I hear Bill speak, it's like I'm put at ease. It's like, well, there's nothing going on there. There's no big deal. Like it sounds like everything's fine when he actually speaks. But when we see or hear things from other people, it sounds like it's pure chaos. And then we see the roster moves, and it's mainly all guys coming in from major programs, but not guys we've really heard of or that have done a lot in college football. What do you make of the roster right now? And how do you actually think things are going in Chapel Hill?
First off, it's great to be on with both of you, the two hardest working men in college football. I mean, between this show right here, which is award winning, and your separate podcasts and your separate games, I don't know when you guys breathe. And your kids, like you guys both have young kids. I don't know when you guys breathe.
And Greg plays golf 5 times a week.
4.
Yeah. Dude, well, speaking of which, and I'll answer the question, Greg, your golf game came up because of the big golf tournament in Birmingham. Your golf game came up, and Cannell is throwing down the gauntlet. He wants a Greg McElroy, Danny Cannell showdown on the golf course.
Pay-per-view.
Little ACC SEC battle there to see who wins on the golf course. So
he's won multiple club championships, but I've never done that. But I feel okay about playing with him right now. He's getting up there in age. I think my length might be able to neutralize what advantages he might have.
I think so. I can't wait to see it. We'll have it on streaming. He's even willing to come to Birmingham to do it. But
he doesn't want that.
Cole. No, he doesn't. To your question, Cole, I have a hard time reconciling the two things as well, because you hear all of the turmoil around sort of mainly his relationship with his PR manager, Jordan Hudson, and his girlfriend who manages everything from a publicity standpoint. She was not in Amelia Island. The roster moves are curious because, last year I had an issue or my question with Florida State was you're bringing in a lot of guys where there are projections. You're not bringing in a lot of production. And UNC is doing somewhat the same thing. I think there's a lot of guys there who come from big programs or were highly recruited in the past that haven't quite done anything yet. And so you're really relying on development. But I do feel like on the offensive and defensive lines, they will be okay. And if you're okay on the offensive and defensive lines, then your floor is pretty low because they will have talent elsewhere. So I don't exactly know. I don't exactly know what to think of what's going on there in Chapel Hill. And I don't know that any of us will really know until they tee off against TCU on Labor Day night. Because even the quarterback position, like we all assume Gio Lopez is going to be the starter, but Max Johnson is coming off that injury, won the job last year with Mac Brown, and could be in the mix if he does indeed get healthy. He's not behind because Gio Lopez obviously didn't participate in spring at UNC either. So it is curious. The schedule they do have a fairly favorable schedule though, and so that's something that they definitely have going for them.
Looking at kind of everything in the ACC, is it purely a 3-horse race with Miami, Clemson, and I guess you can make a case for Louisville. Are those really the only 3 teams that you think could potentially go and win it?
I think in terms of win it, you have I think it's pretty hard for me to see anybody other than Clemson winning it, to be honest with you. And Miami, if everything comes together for them, can probably get close to competing with Clemson from a talent standpoint. But Clemson's the most talented team in the league, and I'm not sure it's particularly close. I mean, they've got 2 defensive linemen that are projected top 20 picks in the way too early stuff with Peter Woods and TJ Parker. They've got 4 or 5, depending on if the transfer from SEMO pans out, receivers that'll play in the NFL. Bryant Wesco, TJ Moore, Tyler Brown, Antonio Williams, all those guys are going to be NFL players. And while they maybe aren't the picks that, T. Higgins was, I think all those guys have a chance at the next level. Their offensive line's gotten a ton better with Matt Luke. So I think they're the clear favorite. But yeah, Miami's in the running. I think you could look at Louisville and sort of who they returned, particularly offensively with the 2 running backs, Isaac Brown and Duke Watson, were really good players for them last year as sophomores. Miller Moss coming over, and Jeff Brom has had a way of taking quarterbacks that had checkered careers and giving them their best year. I mean, Tyler Shuck last year couldn't stay healthy before last season. Stays healthy, ends up a 2nd-round pick. So I'd expect the same type of growth from Miller Moss. Do I think they're talented enough to win the league? I don't, but I think they could get to the championship game. And then SMU is going to be in the running. And there's a lot of people that like Georgia Tech. I am not quite ready to jump there on Georgia Tech because they've got to figure out how to win the games that they should win. But they've been big game hunters, 6-1 against ranked ACC opponents since Brent Key has taken over. So I think Georgia Tech, you can't completely count them out if they figure out how not to have the letdown games.
Who else could compete here in this league? We talked yesterday about Clemson. We talked about Miami. Are there any teams that you see close to those two's category?
Not really, to be honest with you. And I think you look at a Louisville, and they're probably the next closest, or an SMU. The thing with SMU is that it was not a fluke. What happened last year was not a fluke by any means. But they did have a fairly favorable schedule. They did have some things go for them in a couple of games that they probably should have lost. Like the Duke game, they should have lost that game. They turned the ball over 6 times against Duke. Duke couldn't make a field goal. And they ended up taking care of that one. But I do think SMU has some growth with Kevin Jennings. They're always going to be talented at the skill positions with the transfers that they get coming back to the Dallas area. They brought in a boatload of offensive and defensive linemen, which they have done basically every year since they found out they were coming to the ACC. So I think that they could be in that championship game conversation. But the clear 2 teams that are the most talented in the league on paper coming in are Clemson and Miami. And I do think there's a separation there. Like I think Clemson's a top 5 team in the country. I think Miami's probably top 20, top 15 maybe. But I think there's a pretty big separation. And then there's just so many questions amongst other teams that kind of would fall in that category. North Carolina with Bill Belichick, NC State's replacing offensive and defensive coordinators. Virginia Tech's got a million questions, but they're replacing both coordinators and have to get Kyron Drones right. Also have to replace a ton on that defense, both through graduation and transfers. So, I think the top is pretty clearly defined as it stands right now.
You kind of referenced Virginia Tech and you referenced Georgia Tech already. I like both programs pretty well. I mean, I think Boston College got a chance to be dangerous. I think there's a few others that I think could be problematic. But is there a group that maybe we're not talking enough about? Are there teams that maybe we should be focusing a little more on? I feel like we're missing the boat on somebody. I'm not sure who yet.
I know. That's the thing. I'm not sure who to put my emphasis behind. I think if I had to go out on a limb with somebody, I would say it's probably Pitt. Because Cade Bell will be in his 2nd year as offensive coordinator for the Panthers, bringing in an entirely new system, much more open, threw the ball a ton more than they did in previous years. And Eli Holstein, the transfer from Alabama, is going into his 2nd year as a starter, and had some. I like guys that have gone through some adversity and are strong enough to handle that. started off the year great last year, and then it really tailed off for that Pitt offense. A lot of that had to do with Desmond Reed being banged up. Eli Holstein himself got banged up. But I think there's room for growth on that offense in a big way with under Cade Bell in his second year. And then defensively, they were a lot closer to what we were accustomed to seeing with the Pitt defense last year. They weren't quite as explosive on the defensive line as we'd come to be familiar with. But Kyle Lewis at linebacker was one of the best linebackers in the league, and I think their defensive back play was sort of back up to their standard. So I would say Pitt's the one. Started the season 7-0 last year, ended the last 6 games they were 0-6. That leaves some warts for a team that was talented, but probably got away with a little bit early on in the Cincinnati and West Virginia games. But they would probably be the one that I would say, hey, look, watch where it goes on there. NC State's kind of the other one because they've got some good talent on the offensive side of the ball. But my big question for them is defensively, how big of an adjustment is it for them going from what Tony Gibson was doing, who went to take the head coaching job at Marshall, to DJ Elliott? How much do they change structurally? Do they have the personnel to do it? That sort of is the big question for me with NC State. But CJ Bailey's a good player at quarterback. Was teammates in high school with Jeremiah Smith at Chaminade Madonna down in Miami. Ended up being a starter after Grayson McCall got hurt last year and showed some real flashes. So those would kind of be the two that we haven't talked about yet that I would say, keep an eye on them because you could look up at the end of the year and one of those two be, an 8-9 team.
We're visiting with Roddy Jones of the ACC Network, talking sort of conference in general, top to bottom, maybe where things may play out. When you look at a couple of the early matchups, I think there's a lot with Florida State. Just in general, I think I could just stop that statement right there. New offensive coordinator who has had some back and forth with play calling duties in his past, yet they have worked together. You bring in a quarterback that's had some success, but consistency actually throwing the football on a regular basis, how much of that's going to be there? I know Norvell came out earlier this week and said he thinks he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. A lot of player movement in, out. Can they give Alabama a challenge week 1?
That probably should have been the answer to Greg's question of people we haven't talked about. But I'm not going to lie, guys. I don't really know what to do with Florida State right now. Because, and I can say this here because we're amongst friends and the ACC people aren't going to come for me. The 13-0 team was not as good as 13-0. And the 2-10 team was not as bad as 2-10. So, and then with all the turnover, I don't know exactly how I feel about them. I think their floor is probably 6-6, 7-5. I'm not sure what their ceiling is, especially with Thomas Castellanos at the quarterback position. I like Alabama, and so I don't think Florida State gives Alabama a lot of trouble week 1. Like, I think that's a game that probably gets away from Florida State there at the end. But if you talk about growth over the course of the season, I do think Florida State's one of those teams where we could see a ton of growth because there are a ton of new pieces, much more production than they brought in a year ago, but it's still a ton of new pieces. And from a quarterback standpoint, Thomas Castellanos has been exciting, but has not been consistent. And even the good flashes are quickly followed up by flashes of frustration when he was at Boston College. And I'm talking about the Boston College tape from 2 years ago, because the flashes were not nearly as consistent or nearly as plentiful last year under the new offense that Bill O'Brien coming in. So Florida State's a really curious one to me. They will be talented. They spend a ton of money in the portal to go get players, but I just don't quite know what to do with them. And I don't think starting with Alabama is great because we've seen in the past, like teams that think they could be good but aren't sure they're good play Alabama week 1 and Alabama just demoralize them. And then you start to sort of question everything you know about yourself. I don't know if this is one of those Alabama teams, but until we see it on the field, I'm not going to discount that it doesn't have the possibility to be one.
It definitely could be. Lastly, Roddy, when you look at, kind of some of the teams that might really make a run, like Clemson, I know you agree they're one of the class of the ACC for sure. But are they the class of college football? I know they return a lot of productivity, but are they a team that you believe can win 3 or 4 games in the college football playoff en route to a national championship?
I'm not ready to go there yet. And to be honest, Greg, like I'm not ready to go there with very many teams in the country yet, because I just think there's like the teams that return the most and the teams that we're super high on at the top. You talk about a Clemson, a Penn State, even a Texas. I think there's more faith in Texas than Clemson and Penn State, but I certainly don't have it in Penn State. I don't know why. I just don't trust them. And in Clemson, I think you have to you have to see it before on the field before I'm all the way in. I do think this is a team whose goal should be win the ACC, win your first college football playoff game. So if you win the ACC the way that they should get a first round bye. You should win that second game in the college football playoff and make the semifinals. What happens in the semifinals? That's sort of you have to play well, but you're going to be up against a team that's just as talented as you are and probably playing just as well. So if you lose in the semifinals, I don't think that's a failure. But in terms of expectations, that should be Clemson's expectations. And if everything comes together, sure, they've got the experienced quarterback, which we've seen is a key to winning championships in the last 4 national championships. They've got a great defense, or they should have a great defense, which, again, the last 4 national champions have played great on the defensive side of the football. They've got offensive playmakers at the receiver position. So there's no reason to think that they can't. I just don't see them as like the double-digit draft pick team that Ohio State was last year, that Michigan was the year before that, and that Georgia was the 2 years before that. I don't think there's quite that level of talent, and I think somebody out there is going to have it. I don't know exactly who yet. It's probably Texas, but somebody out there is going to have it, and so I don't know that they can go all the way to the national championship.
I want to know where you draw that line. You mentioned, Roddy, that there's not many teams that you look at and say, yeah, they can win a national title right now. Who would be in that category for you?
I think it's, well, in terms of now I've got to expand it because I don't want to just give like 2 answers. I think Clemson and Penn State are in the conversation, but I just said I don't trust them. I think Texas is in that conversation. You certainly can't count out Georgia, especially with Gunnar Stockton. Like, Gunnar Stockton's an interesting one when you talk about the quarterback position because there's reasons to be really excited. But he avoided a lot of danger last year through sheer luck, both in the SEC championship game and in the playoffs. So I do think that there's growth to be had there. I mean, it was his first meaningful snaps. So I think there will be growth. Ohio State has to be in the conversation from a talent standpoint. Let's see, am I forgetting anybody? I think Oregon's an interesting one, and I don't know that a lot of people are talking about Oregon, but the obviously, Dante Moore's going to have to be good at the quarterback position, but talent-wise, defensively, like they're going to be up there. So I think Oregon is certainly one as well. I'm probably forgetting 1 or 2, but off the top of my head, those would be the ones that I trust.
Gotcha. Great stuff, Roddy. Always appreciate the time, and see you next weekend.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Cole, it's a week without your face. I don't know what I'm going to do, man.
It's going to be weird to not have a football game this weekend for sure, but I'm sure we'll find different things to do. Take care, Roddy. Roddy Jones of the ACC Network joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. We will come back, follow up with a little bit of where Roddy Jones went there on teams he thinks can win a national championship next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:53, Friday, May 16th, right here on Jocks 94.5. Watch live on YouTube. Search Jocks 945. You can tune in live or go back and watch the show after it airs each and every day.
Shannara Flooring is the go-to here in the greater Birmingham area. If you're thinking about making some adjustments to your floors, go with Fu and his guys at Shannara Flooring. They're amazing. 40,000 square feet of Core-Tech flooring by Shaw is currently in stock. That means you can go see it, feel it, touch it, experience it before you decide to install it. And if you do install it, these are the guys that are going to take great care of your home. They're going to respect your home. They're going to get the job done right. And they're going to do it with first-class approach to making sure that your home or business is exactly how you want it. This is waterproof, pet-proof, kid-proof flooring that adds value to your home or business. You can get 12 months financing with approved credit. So if you're thinking about making some changes to your floors, call who? Call Fu. Call them at 205-518-6423 or go online at fuandyou.com.
All right, so we've had a lot of college football conversations today. We'll have Dick Girardi on in our next segment to talk the next leg of the Triple Crown, which is also coming up this weekend. And after that, Greg, I want to get into something a little bit different, and I want to know if you're surprised here by this. First off, what did you think of Norvell saying he thinks Castellanos is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year?
He could be. He's got crazy high upside, but now it's about putting it all together. I think that'd be fantastic. I would love that if that actually happens.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of the consistency has to come together if that's going to be the case for him. I kind of don't see his game that way. I do think, like you said, upside, big plays, exciting plays, electric plays, yes, lots, but just kind of managing all of it, operating the offense, that doesn't really feel like something that's going to be his strength. So we'll see how it goes.
I think there's a lot of questions there.
And I think there could be a mix of that offense that we don't know what it's going to look like yet.
But you also,
are you super intrigued to see what that offense looks like?
Yeah, but I think with Gus Malzahn, with that style of quarterback, we've all seen it. No, we don't need to walk people through this. We don't need to walk people through in this part of the country to what Malzahn looks like with a super dynamic athletic quarterback. I mean,
we also don't need to walk people through this part of the country of Gus Malzahn not calling plays.
Well, he's calling them now. I can confirm.
For now. I'm saying it happened at UCF. It happened at Auburn. I mean, is there any reason not to at least ask the question? Doesn't it have to be asked?
You won't find any pushback from me. I think it's a completely fair question.
For you and I get it, but like there are a lot of people that don't understand. Like those two offenses are not the same.
No,
it's not like he's coming in running a different version of Norvell's offense. They're not the same offense.
But there's no way Gus is leaving his situation at UCF if he didn't get clarity about what his responsibility would be within the play calling situation. There's just no way.
I get that, and I'm not saying that he's not.
I haven't talked to him about it. Like he's gonna be calling the plays, and I think the fact that they went out and got Castellanos further indicates that this could look like Nick Marshall,
I get that
basketball on grass type of offense.
But you and I both love Norvell's offense and love the way he calls it. And it's like, you can't just throw that to the side either.
No, I love Norvell's offense. It's one of my favorites.
Expect a happy Greg in hour number 3.
Oh boy. Why?
Ball-to-wall golf?
I think you know why. PED's coming during the break.
Oh,
Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, hour number 3. You're going to take a turn away from college football for a moment, talk the 150th Preakness Stakes coming up this weekend. Should be exciting. Should be fun. Dick Girardi going to join us in just a second to discuss. First, I'll tell you about your CBD store. If you need answers for arthritis, anxiety, not just for you, but for your pet in your household, we have a dog 16 years old in our house, and she needs assistance getting around. She doesn't move as well as she used to. She gets treats from your CBD store every day. Helps with the achy bones and joints, and she's able to move around just a little bit better. I can always tell when she hadn't had them in a while. So they can do the same for your pet. And if that anxiety hits, maybe with the storms coming or people knocking at the door, whatever it is, they can help your pets with that. Better focus for you throughout the course of the day. Weight loss for you. The Trim by SunMed on the shelves now at your CBD store. Skincare, gut health. They just want to make your day better. Better night's sleep. They can help you with that. Go by one of their 3 locations today. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleaver, Trustful just off 459, your CBD store where good health hits home. All right, Dick Girardi joining us again, thanks to betonline.ag on the 150th Preakness Stakes coming up this weekend. Dick, we talked to you about Bob Baffert making his return to the Kentucky Derby last time you joined us. Now he's trying to increase his record 8 Preakness wins with goal-oriented. I want to ask kind of a two-parter. What was different about him being at the Kentucky Derby, if anything, and what are your expectations for his horses in this Preakness Stakes this weekend?
So, most recognizable person in the sport. So that was different, right? Just to see him back there after the 3-year ban. And he obviously got a lot of attention because he hadn't been around and he won 6 derbies. 7, and then the one got disqualified. So, yeah, it was very, very different in Kentucky this year with Baffert being there and back in his normal place with all the trophies and signs about his great Triple Crown winners back up on the barn where he always used to be. As far as goal-oriented, I think he's a marginal contender in the Preakness. He is 2 for 2, but this is a gigantic leap up in competition. It'd be like going from one AA team into the serious business of college football. All of a sudden you're in the SEC. So it's a big jump, but because he has won the Preakness 8 times and is so respected and has done so well, you have to take the horse seriously.
I always like the Preakness. It feels like a sprint. Obviously, it's quick, but it does lack juice when the Derby winner decides not to participate in it. With Sovereignty deciding not to go, he's going to run at the Belmont on June 7th. I understand that it's a tight window, and we're just 2 weeks removed from a big race just a couple weeks ago. But why do they do this? Like, should there not be an obligation to the sport to go and chase the Triple Crown? Or what is the thought process behind Bill Mott deciding to sit Sovereignty here in the Preakness?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Unfortunately, because they're animals, you can't mandate, right? It's not like the playoffs where you got to play on a certain day. But having said that, it's really disappointing because horses run back in 2 weeks at this level and win the Preakness after winning the Derby. I mean, Baffert's had 5 Derby winners that came back in 2 weeks and won the Preakness. So it's very doable, but it's a trainer by trainer circumstance. Some just don't want to do it. I think if this had been 10, 15 years ago, Bill Mott might have done it, but the sport has changed at the top level so much that horses rarely run, except in the Triple Crown Series, more than once a month or 5-6 weeks. And it's sort of like a pitch count in baseball. I don't like it. You obviously don't like it, and we're together on that. I don't know if obligation's the right word, but man, it would be really nice if the horse was sound and okay, that almost all trainers would commit to doing it. But yeah, it's happening more and more, and it's a real problem.
What's the part of this race that people should be paying closest attention to that may favor one horse or the other, as far as the turns, the distance, anything that you feel like makes the biggest difference as opposed to the other legs of the Triple Crown?
Right. So it's a football field and an end zone shorter than the Derby, 110 yards shorter than the Derby. And if you think back to 110 yards left in the Derby, journalism was right almost in front at that point, with Sovereignty eventually passed them in the last 100 yards. So that tells you something. I think more than anything, it's going to be a differently run race with a 19 in the Derby. It's often chaotic, especially, and it was this year at the beginning. Clever Again is the horse to keep an eye on the first 100, 200 yards, number 8. If he comes out of the gate and he's a length or two in front,
he's dangerous. He has a chance at upsetting Journalism. If he doesn't upset him, I don't think any of the rest of these horses have much of a chance to beat him. Journalism should win. I thought he was the best horse in the Derby. He ran great. Unfortunately, Sovereignty just ran a little better.
It was an amazing race, and it was thrilling. It really was. Looking at the rest of the field, first of all, what's the weather outlook? I haven't even looked. Does it look like it's going to be a clean track?
So I think we have a shot at it now. It's been raining all week in the Northeast. Today it's clear in Baltimore. The track is fast for training this morning, but there's going to be some showers tomorrow. The forecast has changed like 50 times. I really hope we can have a fast track tomorrow night because nobody wants to see that slop fest like we saw in Kentucky. I think we're more likely to get a fast track than not, but given how much the forecast has changed, I wouldn't want to make an absolute prediction.
Now, there were a few that were running really well early, and part of it, I think, was lane position. There were a few that were running really well early, though, and ran out of steam as they made it the turn down the stretch. Is this a race where I always kind of look at the pace horses at the Derby and I think, okay, I kind of like the pace horse there. He ran out too quick. I'm probably going to go, if I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to go back and watch the Derby tonight before I play some bets tomorrow. But, I always kind of lean towards those, and I feel like I've done okay in the Preakness in the past. Is there a reason to lean towards the pace horses in the Derby, and is there some carryover?
It's a great question, and the pace of the Derby this year was very fast.
It was.
I mean, they very fast, and most of the horses that were up there just faded at the end, and that's the reason. So the horse you're going to be interested in is a 3, American Promise. He was up there with that pace. Then he just dropped out of it. I mean, he was beating a million lengths. But in horse racing, you never worry about how much they're beaten. You just watch the rider. They stop riding at some point. It's like the route in a sport. At some point, you're not winning. The score doesn't even matter anymore. So, yeah, if American Promise, and this doesn't figure to be as fast, if he gets up there, I would think he'd be in the top 3 early. And it's Wayne Lucas, and he's done this before with this kind of horse, and he's going to be every bit of 15, 20 to 1. That's the horse you're specifically looking at under that circumstance. Derby pace, drop back into Preakness.
All right, Dick Girardi joining us to talk Preakness this weekend and exactly what may happen, what you need to be paying attention to. So if folks are rolling in there and they're going to have some kind of a board or some kind of number system this weekend, and they're going to have to look at different horses, give them 2, maybe 3 that are going to be outside the ones that everybody's trying to get on first, that they should be potentially trying to get on this weekend.
Yeah, I think Clever Again, the 8 is the horse that intrigues me the most outside of Journalism. I do like Journalism. Again, if he runs his best race, he's going to win. If he runs like he did the Derby, he'll win. But Clever Again, I think, would be the horse you're kind of looking for in that particular question. And also, I mean, there's some great people love these prop bets in sports now. There's some great props at betonline.ag. One you guys will absolutely love. This is a new one. Will any of the horses in the post parade poop on television?
Okay.
This is the poop prop, and that it happened in the Derby. Yes is plus 110. No is minus 150. So the poop prop is new this year at betonline.ag.
Wow.
There you go.
All right.
Got that going for you.
It does the smaller field favor any one particular horse? I mean, I think most would say Journalism, because he likely won't have a bad trip, knowing that the lanes aren't going to be too regimented. But is there usually, looking at a 9-horse field, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So
9 instead of 19. That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So looking at it, I mean, it's not, if you get if you're in the 1 lane, does that have an effect on you? Because I look at the Derby, like I'll never pick a horse in the 1 ever.
Yeah, no, it's just, yeah, you're right. You're right. It does favor a horse like Journalism. Because if you go back, when you watch the tape of the Derby tonight, he's the 8 horse. Watch what happens at the beginning. The 1, Citizen Bull, takes a right turn out of the gate.
Yep.
And like 5 or 6 horses were definitely impacted the first 100 yards. All of a sudden, they lost the position that the trainers and the jockey expected to be in. And it's not. This is not like a football game or a baseball game, basketball. Yeah. You don't have a lot of time to recover. So if you get out of position, and Journalism really did. I thought he ran great under the circumstances. So yeah, with this, he figures to be maybe 3rd or 4th coming out of the first turn with not nearly the traffic. I mean, hell, he was 10th after a quarter mile in the Derby. Well, he can't be 10th here. There's only 9 horses. So, yeah, definitely the field size is helpful for a horse like that.
And then finally, I have a tendency, I usually go, 3 to 5 minutes to post. That's when I'm making my calls because I want to see them on their toes. Like I feel like for whatever reason, I probably overanalyze it. If I'm gonna be honest with you, it's probably all the years of going to Saratoga with friends.
Of course.
I mean, goodness gracious, one of my best buddies who happened to be in town. I mean, his bachelor party was at Gulfstream. Like it's sick. But I love it.
My kind of guy.
Yeah, I love it. It's so much fun, and I just get such a kick out of it. We have a blast. But I probably overanalyze the pre-race mannerisms of the horse. Am I right in doing that? Like if a horse looks like he's on his toes, or if he's looking like he's a little more casual, like is there something you can tell from the horse's body language pre-race that have you feeling pretty good?
The experts can tell that. I'm not one of those people, so I stay away from that. But there are people that are really, really good at that, and I swear by them. But yeah, that's not me, and I don't know exactly what your history of how you've done with that. If you've done well with it, if you have a sense of it, and it's shown, then go for it. But yeah, to me, that is one of the harder parts. Try to analyze what this horse is going to do by the body language. But that there are a ton of people that bet a lot of big money looking at exactly that.
Dick, we appreciate the time. It's been great having you. Hopefully we'll get you for the third leg of the Triple Crown as well. Enjoy the races this weekend.
Yeah, look forward to it, guys. And I'll give you one more prop. Over under length of victory here, over a length and a half. I think journalism is going to crush the field. So take that one at BetOnline.
There you go. BetOnline.ag is your presenter for Dick Girardi here on the show, talking 150th Preakness. Appreciate the time, Dick. We'll catch up soon.
You got it. Thanks so much, guys.
Joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, go over to betonline.ag. Check them out now for everything for the Preakness coming up this weekend. Should be fun. I didn't realize you were going to put that much effort into it. That much time into it.
Oh, I like horse racing.
Grinding.
I like horse racing.
Who is your pick? Journalism?
Yes, by a mile. But I'm going to probably
take that.
But I was curious more on the exacta, like an exacta, like the
exactafecta, trifector.
Well, we hit the exacta in the Derby, so
Quadzilla.
I'm feeling hot right now. I like exactas. I usually go 3 wide on the exacta. Kind of serve it every which way. It's not an overly significant amount. I just like the action. I think horse racing is so fun. It's true Americana, and I get into it in the 3 weekends a year. Now, used to be a little more into it. Used to watch the Breeders' Cup and used to go to a race every year and used to have a lot of fun. Don't do that as much anymore now that kids have become the number one priority. But it's a great sport. It's a lot of fun, and I hope everybody gets to tune in for the 90 seconds of action on Saturday.
Okay, there you go. We will be discussing that back when we're here on Monday, but we're going to go to college football again. And I have a question for Greg on a certain SEC school. One coach has gotten an extension this week. Did his previous school make a mistake by letting him go? We will discuss that next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 9:17, Friday, May 16th, right here on Jocks 94.5. An extension for Illinois head football coach Brett Bielema, GMAC, and one that I think a lot of people would look at and say, yeah, don't have a problem with that. Most likely deserves it and feel pretty good about it. Would you be in that camp?
I think it's a great investment by Illinois to lock somebody up that, let's be real. I mean, Brett Bielema is probably going to be an attractive. Now, will he go back to the SEC? I don't know. But I think in the event in which maybe there's some shakeups in the Big Ten, he could become an attractive option for some schools.
I think he's going to be, if he has the season I think he can have this year, I think that there is probably going to be a lot of folks that are looking at potentially bringing him in. And will it happen? Will he leave? I don't know. Depends on the situation.
Right.
But he'll be over. It's a team that I think has a chance because of what we talked about with the Big Ten earlier this week when we looked at those win totals. There doesn't seem to be a ton of teams that are just easily going to compete for a Big Ten title. A couple teams going backwards. His doesn't feel like it should take as big of a step backwards. So if he's in contention late to be in that conference championship game, I think he's going to get a ton of buzz. I just don't know if he has that desire to go chase the big name job again.
He's done it.
Yeah, I feel like he's pretty comfortable.
Well, and also, I mean, the guy's won a ton of games. He's had a remarkably successful career. And at this point, he's got a family, he's got kids. Is he really trying to uproot his life in an effort to maybe get slightly closer to a national championship? Probably not. I mean, do I think he can win a national championship with Illinois? No, I don't. But I also think that he can make the playoff, and I think that's a pretty good place to be. And you look at the guys that are now taking the jobs that might come with expectations of winning a natty. They're not as desirable as they once were. Those used to be the highest paying jobs in the country. Now there's a handful of schools that are paying 8 figures to their head coach with no national championship expectations. Purely an expectation to, hey, give us a good product, be competitive, run a clean program, graduate your players, do what you need to do, and, pull off an upset or two every once in a while.
Right.
That's a pretty good place to be.
So I asked the question, and I think we mentioned it at the time, and we all agreed, but how big of a mistake did Arkansas make letting him go? Let me run through a couple things for you quickly before you guys chime in on this.
All right.
Brett Bielema at Arkansas was 3-9, 0-8 his year one. 7-6, 2-6, 8-5, 5-3, 7-6, 3-5, 4-8, 1-7 at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Here's what would follow the next 3 years: 2-10, 0-8, 2-10, 0-8, 3-7, and 1-7. Now, Pittman would get to 9-4, 4-4, 7-6, 3-5 the next 2 years, and of course a little bit of a dip last year, 4-8, 1-7. Once again, and we're in the same spot right now with Arkansas. A lot of folks want him gone. Those records, you kind of look at them, and I'm not going to say numerically they're exactly the same, but the type of years that Brett was having with one down year, like one semi-down year, 7-6, 3-5, they both had that before their really down year, and then they both went 4-8 and 1-7. Identical the last 2 years that Brett was there and Sam's last 2 years. And there are a lot of people that want Sam out. We love Sam. I don't think he should be on the hot seat. Now, if he goes 4-8, 1-7 again, yeah, squarely on the hottest seat, possible. But I go back to what we were talking about with Brett Bielema when, number one, what are you going to do? Who are you going to get? What's it going to be? Now, maybe there are a lot of people, Greg, that think Petrino's a real option and that they should do that and that would be better. I don't see how you could. I don't know. But it is what it is in today's college football landscape. But I asked the question again, now that I've laid out those records, how big a mistake was it to let Brett go?
I mean, it's easy now, hindsight being 2020, with Brett having revitalized his career at Illinois and having a nice turnaround there. But I also think at the time we have to consider where Arkansas was. Arkansas was just a couple years removed from the Bobby Petrino era. It was a couple years removed from winning or competing in a New Year's Six bowl game. They played in the Sugar Bowl. I believe it was 2010 season 11 Sugar Bowl. They were a threat to win double-digit games almost every year, and Brett never seemed to be able to get them over that hump. Now, they had some good years. They had some good moments, but they didn't have enough good moments. And I think the expectation level at that time was, well, A&M just came into the league and they lit it up with Johnny Manziel. And now it's going to be a lot tougher to recruit Texas because there's a Texas school in the SEC. So that was in 2012. Brett let go in what, 2016 you said? 2017?
Yeah.
So I think that had
17 was his last season.
17 was his last season. So I think that had a bit of a role in thinking, all right, we got to go get a Texas guy. They go and get Chad Morris. Oh, we got to go throw it around the yard. That'll make us different. That's what we did with Ryan Mallett and Bobby Petrino. That'll make us different. And it didn't work out because it was a complete 180. Do I think Chad Morris, had he inherited a program that wasn't fullback, 2 tight ends, and running back, do I think he could have had success? Yes. But that's a complete 180, and they hadn't recruited to be that type of team. And the transfer portal wasn't open at that time. You couldn't just go and remake your offense overnight. You had to do it through high school recruiting, and that was going to be a challenge. Now, they ended up getting some good players, but they didn't get enough to jumpstart the engine quick enough. And then they reverted back to a guy that was there under Brett Bielema in a hope to kind of maybe blend the two, be athletic and yet still ground and pound. And that's been good at times, but not so great at other times. So I think Arkansas is just a tough place.
It is.
There's not a lot of in-state talent. You have to go and fight with everybody in Texas. Everybody recruits Texas. You trying to be in there as well. And you have great NIL resources, but you have not had a consistent program in 20 years.
It's fair. Also, 2017, half of the 12-team SEC was, 14-team SEC. Almost half was 9 wins or more, 6 teams. So it's not like it was a down year for the league when you're looking at what that was and what he had to go up against. So just another part of it when you consider kind of when they decided to make that decision. And by the way, a top 25 TCU was on the schedule. They played number 1 Alabama, number 21 Auburn, number 24 LSU, number 16 Mississippi State that year. It was a lot. So,
yeah. I mean, hindsight would say you should never let them go, but you have to consider the climate at the time. Like if we don't stop this, we could, twist into oblivion, which I think is ridiculous. I think it's reactionary and ridiculous, but it was a real thing. I can't be mad at them for being concerned about their future prospects when good things were happening in other places and they weren't happening at your place.
Right. It's interesting just to kind of look back at it because I don't think there were a ton of people who at that point, and I know there were some other circumstances, things behind the scenes, specifically with him that he did not assist with to the point that could have helped assure he stay. However, the point being that if you could have found a way to make it work, it feels like it was heading in the right direction. And I feel like the identity that he tried to create there, and for the most part did create there, was one that kind of should be there.
Yes.
Because even when you could go to the whole Ryan Mallett situation, I mean, they were still running the ball well. They're still a physical team.
Yeah. But they were really more about, they did a couple things that were a little different. They played exclusively press man. That's all they played. Literally nothing else. Every single snap was press man, which was tough to play against because they had pretty good personnel at corner. They had a couple good guys along the defensive line. And then as far as their offense is concerned, I mean, they had Ryan, who was good, but they also had pretty good offensive line. I wouldn't say they were overly effective running the football. They're okay. But it was really more about their personnel through the air and creating manufacturing big plays. And I think part of it, too, had to do with style of play. Like, people wanted to see points. Why do you think Mississippi State hired Jeff Lebby? They said it flat out. We want a really entertaining and we want an entertaining product. I mean, points sell. And it makes people happy. Nobody sits there as often, unless you're a national championship expectation program. Nobody's sitting there saying, oh, gosh, well, why is our defense ranked 47th? But they're going to sit there if you're scoring 21 points a game and say, what's wrong with our offense? So, look, Bama's going to care about defense. LSU's going to care about defense. Clemson's going to care about defense. Ohio State's going to care about defense. But I think teams that don't necessarily have national championship realistic expectations in the near term, they just want to watch something that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think that's a real thing.
And it's fair. I think about when Arkansas has been at their best, like their best teams. You take that, you take that team that threw it around just a little bit more with Ryan Mallett. Okay, maybe, but like the teams that I view the best in the history of Arkansas football, like you go back to that Sterner team, like Madre Hill was a hell of a running back then. You go back to the McFadden teams, like ground and pound, they could get it done. To me, that's when. Some of the teams that came into Auburn for all those JP, CBS doubleheader 11-11-30 games, like all the Felixes that came in every year and just ran all over Auburn. Like that, to me, that's when they're at their best. And that's kind of what that program is. Like pretty good offensive lines, really good defensive linemen, great running backs, physical, will fight you. Guys you don't really want to tussle with too much. Like have an edge. That's what I view as like the best Arkansas teams ever. Now, you want to throw in a Marcus Monk, you want to throw in a double duty Davenport, like great. It's fine. But to me, physical ground and pound first and foremost, win the line of scrimmage, that's when Arkansas has been their best.
Yeah.
And then just to say, oh, we want to go air raid or whatever. Like you can't.
I think you want to develop an identity and say, hey, I want to go and all I want to do is recruit the best offensive linemen and running backs. Guess what? I think that plays nowadays.
I think that's what Sam's trying to do. I think that's what Brett did.
But Sam hasn't had good offensive line play. I think that's why people look at Sam's situation and say, yeah, we're a little bit frustrated with our current circumstances because what he's supposed to be elite at, they have not been elite at. So if you're a great quarterback developer and you don't have a quarterback, like that's going to make people kind of scratch their head. Fair or unfair, that's the reality. So why has the offensive line struggled? You help me. Why is that? Tell me.
I think some of it's personnel.
Well,
and
obviously.
you and I both know too. Like let's go we'll take a break here and we'll go down the path that you're talking about. Because I think there is a real difficulty in wanting to be that type of a team right now. And for some reasons that people are not discussing. Like you can just say there's not a lot of great linemen. Okay, yeah, everybody can say that. The whole world can say that. But the whole world can't say they have as nice a diamonds as Bromberg's.
Bromberg's is great, and the service is great. That's what I think you'll love most about the experience you have when shopping at Bromberg's. When you walk in the door, you have so many people that are willing to help you, that are going to get you pointed in the right direction. There's so many options. The inventory is amazing. They're going to get you in the most beautiful pieces possible. And these are pieces, too. When you make purchases at Bromberg's, and we're talking about purchases that might be in your family for multiple generations. So you want to make sure that purchase is protected with a company that has as high of an integrity as Bromberg's has. They've been in business for 200 years for a reason. So I highly recommend going and checking out Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village in the Summit. They have natural diamonds. They have beautiful gold jewelry, platinum jewelry, silver jewelry. They also have gifts. It's wedding season. So if you're looking for a gift for someone that's getting married here very soon, Bromberg's has amazing options for you there as well. So go and check them out. It's Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
Why is it hard to identify yourself as a ground and pound, run first football team in college football nowadays? We'll discuss that right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 9:35 right here on Jocks 94.5. Appreciate you tuning in. Talking college football and building your team, building your identity. First off, I'll ask the question, what would you want your team's identity to be if it could be anything other than a winner? Is it line play? Is it defense? Is it lockdown defense, pressure defense, run the ball? Is it throw it all over the yard? If you could choose your team's identity, is it playing fast? Auburn fast. What teams have like individual identities anymore? I mean, the academies don't even have individual identities, all of them anymore.
No. I don't know. I mean, what qualifies as an identity is like
that aspect of your team has to be really good to win a game.
Like dynamic offense.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that or like lean on your defense. Like what's Ohio State's identity right now?
Well-rounded.
Great players.
Yeah. Talented. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, what qualifies as identity? I mean, I think that once upon a time, it was a little easier to kind of pinpoint what a team was. Now, everybody kind of does a little of everything.
And you have to be versatile because what if you lean on something and two of those guys that are best at it hit the portal? You're going to lean on that again?
Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah, I mean,
we're a ground and pound football team. Our best guard and our best running back hit the portal. Uh-oh. Might not be that the next year.
I think if I could be anything, it'd be a ground and pound physical football team that you do not want to play.
I want to win the line of scrimmage.
Like I want to be a blue collar physical football team that, yes, we have talent, we have athletes and whatnot, but we have a bunch of guys that play smart, cerebral football. And if you want to get into a brawl, we are going to absolutely beat you up.
Let's go.
Like that's that. If I could have any football team, that's the one I want.
I think if I could label my team's identity as anything, I would probably go with putting our hand in the date.
I think it's too, but that's
even though most of the fields that we play on will be turf.
But that's kind of that's the kind of the Stanford Jim Harbaugh model. Like if I could model a program after any that like I have a ton of respect for. Just as far as quality of play, don't make it about the sign stealing. I don't care about that. But like Jim Harbaugh in 2022 when they won the Natty, or 2023.
He's done it multiple times. He did it at Stanford a couple times.
But I
had
love
it at Michigan multiple times.
I love that identity though. Like a quarterback.
And it's weird because people don't think you can win with that.
We just saw a team win it with it 2 years ago.
I'm with you, but like people will say, "Oh, you got to score.
You can score.
You got explosive plays."
You can still score. You think we didn't have explosive plays running the football and marrying it with play action?
What are you going to do when you get down 14? Well, if you play good enough defense, you probably won't.
Yeah,
that's part of being a physical team is your defensive line. I mean, think about the D linemen that have been drafted out of Michigan the last couple of years. Pretty dominant.
Yeah. Like great D line, smart, cerebral team in general that doesn't make dumb mistakes, doesn't do dumb things. Doesn't have a bunch of me guys. The sum is greater than each individual part. Like that to me is my favorite type of football team.
Absolutely. And if you're shopping for a new ride, the Spring Savings event is going to be one of your favorite types of events. It's going on now at Royal Automotive. My friends at Royal want to help you experience how car buying should be with 4 Royal-owned dealerships in one location. The selection savings unmatched. Get up to $10,250 off select 2025 GMC Sierra models. Volkswagen Deal Days is on. That means you can get up to $2,500 in customer bonuses on select models, or choose the luxury and safety you expect from the Volvo SUV lineup of XC40, XC60, XC90 models, 3.99 APR on 72 months. All offers valid through April 30th, 2025. Certain restrictions apply with approved credit. Royal Buick GMC, Royal Volkswagen, Royal Automart, Volvo Cars of Vestavia Hills, all at the corner of I-65 and Highway 31 of Vestavia, and online at royalautomotive.net. Make Royal your first and last stop in car shopping. Remember, for every ride, there's Royal. Not many teams can do it anymore, though.
No.
Not many teams can live that way. It's a little interesting, though. Do you not feel like Georgia's kind of lived that way?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Georgia is.
But Georgia also is a talent pool.
Correct.
That not a lot of people can swim in.
Correct.
And they live in the deep end. So you better have pretty good way of getting around the pool if you're going to go swim down there with those guys. It's not a lot of them can hang there. Not a lot of teams try to do it. And I think one of the big reasons, Greg, that we don't talk about with it, we talk about the portal and how it affects things and how it affects teams. But I really do believe that the continuity and the chemistry, and I mean, think about how selective those Michigan teams you just referenced were in the portal of going and getting one guy to come in and start at center. But the other 4 guys were there, and maybe another guy that played a lot was there, and he came in and he helped a little bit. You know who's doing it right now, kind of that way, is Marcus Freeman.
Yeah.
And we're not going to live in the portal. We don't want 20 portal guys, but man, we need a running back, or man, we need a wide receiver, or we need one more D lineman. Okay, we'll go get one. Now, getting a quarterback is obviously going to raise everybody's antennas and say, well, you wouldn't got a high profile guy. Like, Riley Leonard was a good player. I don't think he was the ultimate game changer at quarterback.
No.
He's a very good college football player that was a lot of what you just described. Cerebral, knew what it took to win, didn't go try to get 80 yards when he only needed 8. And physical on both sides of the ball, will attack you on both sides of the ball, downhill run game, build around that. Defensive line that's disruptive and problematic, build the defense around that.
Yep.
Because when your D-line does those things, you can take advantage of some linebacker run through. When your corners are good enough to let you pressure more, blitz more, you can do that a little bit more. But that D-line forced teams to have to protect in different ways because they could win the one-on-ones. I think he's kind of building it that way. But the fact that you got all these guys leaving and you don't know who – it's one of the things when I talked about, like I did my top 5 offensive lines in the SEC coming up this year, and I had Auburn in the top 5, and people were all mad about it.
Why are people mad about it?
Well, and one of the main reasons I said that was, I said, you realize that Auburn can go into the season and know who their backup left tackle is, their backup right tackle is, their backup left guard is, their backup right guard is, and their backup center is. How many teams in college football can say that?
Well, what I would say, the only pushback I would have to Auburn being in the top 5 is they lost Percy Lewis.
Okay, you're an idiot. Sometimes that's why we like having you on the show, is to make me look smarter. But yeah, good luck with that, Ole Miss.
They lost him. I don't know how you replace that.
Sometimes you lose things on purpose. You just leave it at the park and say, don't want to have that anymore. Don't want to deal with it. Sometimes when you know the kickball's going flat and it's got a little hole in it, you just leave it at the park and say, oh, we forgot our kickball. It was flat anyway. Who cares? That one was flat.
When you lose your left tackle, you lose your left tackle. I mean, look at LSU. They lost their left tackle. Auburn lost their left tackle.
LSU lost their right tackle too.
Yeah,
and a guard and a center.
But I mean, you look at losing Will at left tackle for LSU and how big a hole that is. I mean,
massive.
Auburn,
but are they going to upgrade and be better? I think Auburn's going to be better.
Talk about impact at left tackle.
Why? Because of the portal?
Yes. New? Yeah. No, not just because of the portal, because of the previous one was so bad. That's why.
It's just too easy to wind you up. Who else is in your top 5?
Georgia's in my top 5.
Oh,
Auburn's
did you see Tate Ratledge?
In the NFL, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, did you see him last year?
Florida is in my top 5.
Look what they were like without him last year.
A&M's in my top 5. I think A&M's could be a sneaky good group.
They were sneaky good last year.
Once again, another group that you look at and you say, okay, let's say that Demetrius Crownover goes down at right tackle. You got Reuben Fodley, who's literally started and played at right tackle, that could come in. And now you might be leaning on Lamont Rogers, a freshman, to come in and play some, but you have Feiau, who's going to probably start at center, and Mark Naboo has started at center also, backing him up. Now, one of those could potentially kick to guard if they have to, but like you have multiple. There's just not many offensive lines that know 3 or 4 guys have a capable backup at that one spot. Now, you might have a swing tackle, or you might have a guard that can play all 3 middle positions, backing guys up, and that helps. But I think Auburn, for the first time in a decade, has real depth on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And they upgraded probably at both tackle spots. And some of the guys that played at tackle last year are back and can still help. Like Xavier Miller's back. You don't think he's going to help at some point? Probably. He's going to make a big difference.
Too tall.
Sometimes too tall to get good leverage in the run game. But
why does that matter?
It makes a difference.
Says who?
So Tyler Johnson played a little bit. He's back. He's going to help. He and Xavier Miller could be your backup right, your backup left. So I think that group's got a chance to be pretty good.
I would agree with you.
And not to mention, you add quarterback run to it a little bit more. That's going to help that group be.
I think they're going to be fine. But you're still just a huge Auburn homer.
That's it. This is all Barn Radio, and I'm glad you guys are tuning in.
Yes.
I think the wild card in offensive line play in the league this year, I think there's two. I think it's Texas and Missouri. I don't know exactly how good they're going to be, but I think they both have the potential to be pretty good. And that could change those teams.
But Bama.
They're in the top 5.
Should be number 1.
Of course, well, always. There were people that pushed back on it. Actually, I was surprised I had more Florida fans pushing back on it.
Like
we ranked first in run block percentage rate grade and first in pass percentage grade ratio. I didn't see those numbers. So sorry, guys. I left them out. Once again, similar situation with Bama, though. Like Geno Vandermark has played a lot. That is a legitimate backup that could probably come in and help you at both guards. And by the way, if Cam Dewberry's not in shape, you might need him to start. And probably could. Maybe the best center in the SEC coming back. If Jaden Roberts gets his head on straight, he can be a force. And Caden Proctor's good. Do I think he's a first pick in the draft next year? No, I don't. But I think he can be pretty good.
He could be.
So could you, Greg.
Next year?
Just sue him.
I need another year. 2027 is my draft. I'm back. 2028.
Now, I don't know about Formby in the right tackle spot. That's the big question mark.
I think they're going to be all right at right tackle.
They could be fine. They might be really good. But I feel pretty good about their depth. That's one of the reasons they were in there.
But Tennessee.
That's the biggest surprise that I got out of the whole thing is that some of those folks were pushing back.
What?
That they didn't.
That they should be in the top 5. And I just said, give me anything.
Tell me one starter.
And the one starter, by the way, voluntarily didn't play in games last year.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
I thought we left that one last year.
Well, I don't know if it just repairs itself this year. All of a sudden, Lance Hurd wants to play in every game. Is Aiden going to let him travel? I don't know. Fix it. The group went backwards last year from like week 5 or 6 to the end of the year. And
but they were still on the watch.
They're all gone?
They were on the watch list.
At least it wasn't before the season started.
Hadn't you heard of Joe Moore?
At least it wasn't before the season started.
Don't you respect Joe Moore?
You want to know what the response was from the people?
What?
I'll give you one guess why they should be there.
Because of the offensive style?
One of your favorite things when it comes to talking about players.
Because of the system?
No, because of the stars.
Look how big.
Look how many stars.
So they said,
we got 2 5-stars and a 4-star coming back. None of them have played.
One of them.
We've never seen them in a uniform.
One of them.
We don't even know if they can know how to dress out. But by God, they got stars. Oh, they're just going to run through the whole league then. My bad.
There's one thing I found that most SEC teams don't have 4 stars and 5 stars.
Don't say.
They're the only one with 4 stars and 5 stars.
Those were the reasons I got.
So which was the loudest fan base about their frustrations?
Florida.
Really?
They thought they should be 1.
And what were they?
4. That was my response,
right.
Damien. Is like, it's not like I'm putting y'all 14.
Right. Okay.
And by the way, the previous 6 years, you'd have been 14 to 16. Be happy with 4.
But they were big.
Oh, look how big.
How can you have Georgia in there? Well, a lot of the guys that filled in for the guys that all got hurt last year did some good things. And if they're all back playing together, they got a chance to be pretty good.
Sounds like you're just a Auburn homer.
That's the only thing it is.
Here's the thing that amazes me the most.
I didn't have Auburn 1, by the way.
I just want to know, seriously, I want to know how many of the people that are texting in and or tweeting at you when you put out your top 5 SEC offensive lines, how many are actually watching? How many actually know what they're talking about? Because I'll be honest with you, I watch a lot of tape. I feel like I have a pretty good feel for the offensive line. I'm probably not going to argue with you as it relates to the offensive line rankings. Just like you shouldn't argue with me when it comes to quarterbacks, but you do. But that's okay because everybody knows the quarterback situation. Everybody can watch quarterback play and for the most part figure out, all right, he's decent. Maybe they don't see the little things that he does that makes him great, but they can usually tell, all right, this guy's pretty good. You know, he's pretty good. He's kind of a liability. Most people can kind of figure that out. Let me tell you what people don't know anything about offensive line play. Literally nothing. That's like a general statement because I, as someone that played professional football, am constantly trying to learn about offensive line play.
It's different.
But Johnny Twitter fingers, and he knows.
But the main thing that was thrown at me were some, and didn't even reference who gave them to them or where they found them, some sort of grading system, some sort of analytics somewhere that said that they were the best run and pass blocking group in the country. Couldn't you just say you're the best then?
I've always felt.
What's next? Well, we're the best pulling group in the country. We had the best stances in the country. Like what's the next one you go to there? We're the best at run blocking and pass block. Okay, well, you're not going to be at the top if you're really good at one and terrible at the other. So I figured if you're going to argue it, yeah, that was the way it was going to be.
In all seriousness, though, if you only return one starter and he was average, how do you have one of the top groups in the country?
Who are you talking about?
Tennessee.
Oh, those people were just ridiculous. I didn't even address that.
Oh.
The Florida people I'm okay with because it's like, yeah, I think you guys have a chance to be pretty good, but it's like none of your guys are elite. So let's not pretend like you're just going to springboard, to be in some of the Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia offensive lines we've seen over the last 10 years. Like, just stop with that. You're not that. You weren't that at any point last year, and you had good players.
Ole Miss should be top 5.
Oh,
right. Back with more after this. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Quickly, our Super Sofa games of the weekend. G-Mac, where are you heading?
The PGA Championship from Quail Club in Charlotte, North Carolina.
You're just going to sit there on your sofa from TD's?
The best part is the matchup. Some of the greatest players in the world
Yeah, it is.
take on a whole bunch of grass, wind, and rain. It's live on ESPN throughout the weekend. It's the PGA Championship at Quail Club.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Well, I'm going to Fox tomorrow at noon as our Birmingham Stallions travel up to St. Louis to take on the Battle Hawks. Definitely got to get this win, solidify the playoff spot. Give me the Birmingham Stallions and St. Louis Battle Hawks tomorrow at noon for my TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa game of the weekend.
John?
For me, you give me a game 7. I'm going to take it Nuggets Thunder Sunday night, 2:30 or Sunday afternoon, 2:30 ABC Nuggets Thunder game 7. Winner moves on to the Western Conference Finals.
I'm with you. Jokic, Gilgeous-Alexander, game 7, 2:30 ABC Sunday. That would be my Super Sofa game of the week.
Absolutely. And for your Super Sofa or furniture for the entire home, check out TD's Fine Furniture, now with a closeout center. Brand new, that's open. Manufacturer's discount items are marked down 50% or more, plus everyday great deals throughout the store at TD's Fine Furniture in Summerton.
Appreciate Roddy Jones, Dick Girardi joining us today. We are back Monday. We will recap UFL, NBA Game 7s, golf, all of it. 7 to 10 a.m., 3 minutes.